Do you want to learn how to flip thousands of books, DVDs, and other items from Amazon back on Amazon for huge profits without leaving home? Well, today I'm going to share with you a training that's going to walk you through the process step by step. How my good friend Joji literally flipped over $250,000 worth of products that he bought from Amazon merchants back on FBA without leaving his home. And the coolest part is he's a full-time chemistry teacher. So he's making six figures without even putting in full-time hours. This is gonna be an amazing training. So make sure you stay until the end and let's get right into the video.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to share with you guys how I sold so far this year over 3,900 books, almost 4,000 books for over $272,000 in revenue. And technically it's 272,300 as of like 5 minutes ago, because I don't know about you, but when it comes to selling Amazon, sometimes I check my sales way too often. But this is basically $272,000 in revenue over the last 11 months. So it's actually not even over the last 12 months. It's actually just year to date. And the goal is that, I want to show you how, this model could work for you and kind of expand your opportunity with, sourcing books on Amazon, because a lot of people out there, normally find books by thrifting and going to library sales. But the reality is that there's actually tons of books on Amazon right now that you could buy and resell for a profit. So that's what we're going to talk about here. So the really cool thing is that if you guys stay till the end, we did want to reward you. So there are some free bonuses that we're going to be giving away that, just for being here, just to say thanks for all of your time. Basically, you're going to get 10 Christmas books that you can flip for years to come. So what's really cool is that there are actually quite a few Christmas books that get really cheap in the off season when it's not Christmas and inflate in price during Christmas. Like right now, like one example is a book called The Night Before Christmas. Everyone literally wants that book the night before Christmas. So, we're going to be giving, 10 Christmas books away to you guys for free if you stay to the end. I'm also going to go, give you guys the 10-step profit checklist. So I'm all about buying books on Amazon and reselling them on Amazon. And I have basically a 10-step profit checklist is, what I walk through to make sure that, when I'm looking at a book, that it's something that I actually want to buy and is going to be a good buy. And then lastly, with selling books on Amazon, you have to be really careful about counterfeit textbooks. So some of the books that I'm going to show you that you can buy are textbooks, and you have to really be careful about making sure that the books that you're buying are actually authentic books. And so I have a counterfeit prevention guide. So those are all really valuable things that I think you're going to get, tons of value out of. So if you stay till the end of this entire webinar, you guys are going to get that for free. So super excited for that. All right. So a lot of you are probably like, who the heck is this guy? I learned about this webinar from Steve Rake, and I have no idea who you are. So, my name is Joji Davenport. I'm a high school chemistry teacher during the day. So I have a 9-to-5 job. I also have a newborn son. Well, he's not technically a newborn anymore. He's about a year old. But I basically teach chemistry throughout the day. And, I'm just a normal father, normal husband. I come home, I play with my boy, I hang out with my wife, cook some dinner, do the chores, and late at night is kind of when I have to make this happen. So I've been basically a part-time bookseller for almost 7 years. It kind of started back when I was in college, when I was graduating with my undergraduate degree. But I basically this year am going to for the first time make more money selling books on Amazon than I will from my actual teaching job, which to me is just absolutely insane, because over the last 7 years I've said like, hey, this is a part-time thing, but I can't even really say that anymore because it actually has surpass the amount of income I make for my teaching job. Beyond that, honestly, a big part of that success has been being able to produce content on YouTube. So I have a YouTube channel where I, teach people how to sell books on Amazon. I'm sure a lot of you guys are here because of that. And I've learned to, make connections. I've learned to, new strategies just as a result of having a YouTube channel and producing that content. And, luckily I'm able to coach people in that process. So I've done some one-on-one coaching with people, some behind the scenes, some of it paid, some of it not paid, but I've done a lot of coaching just like through YouTube and just, making videos for people to try to help them go through the process. And so, as a result of that, I've talked to a number of people behind the scenes, and, Tanner is somebody who I met a while ago. I met him from my YouTube channel, and behind the scenes, we've been talking back and forth. And what's funny is in the beginning, we used to chat a lot more often, but over time, he's actually really improved his game. And, he said, Joji transformed my Amazon business, aligning with my lifestyle. I switched from scanning books, which I'm sure a lot of you are doing right now. So scanning books to online arbitrage book selling, all thanks to him. Joji openly shares his day-to-day operations and inventory sourcing strategies. He says, I eagerly await his new content and recommend his Amazon course for successful income. So, another good friend of mine, Steve, we met up behind the scenes, he said he transformed my struggling Amazon business. His strategy and guidance leverage my strengths and improve my weaknesses, resulting in remarkable growth. And he says, highly recommend Joji. So these are all people that I met behind the scenes. And, I've actually met people in person. Like this is Steven, who I met in person at Barnes and Noble just a couple months ago. He was coming through down to Southern California. And, he said that he's been, an eBay seller for 20 years, came across my channel. And, he said, my clear teaching style and practical examples have been invaluable to him. And he said, after 2 years of learning, like we actually met up and it was really awesome to get to meet him in person. So, I've done quite a bit of coaching through YouTube, behind the scenes like that. And here's another Steve. This is the third Steve in a row. So I guess, if you want to hang out with me, I guess your name just has to be Steve. But jokes aside, Steve will be in the chat. He's a good friend of mine, and I honestly am so thankful for Steve Rakin because I'm definitely a small fish in a big pond. He's a big fish, and he's definitely taking me under his wing, and he's just a really cool guy, and I really appreciate everything he's done for me. So he'll be in the chat monitoring questions and things like that. So basically what Steve said is true. Like 85% of my sales over the last year have come from Amazon to Amazon flips. And I know you're sitting there thinking like, is that actually profitable? Like how much money can you actually make doing that? So I kind of want to share with you my goal. This year, I'm trying to hit $300,000 in revenue. So revenue just simply means this is how much money in books I've sold as a dollar amount. It's by no means profit. But because the way that I work this model, because I'm looking for high margin book flips, trying to buy a book for $10 and flip it for 50, buy a book for 20, flip it for 75, right? My margins are actually really high. And so my goal is to hit the 100K profit. So, right now I'm right around 272K in revenue on the year. So if I have a really good December, I think I can make it there. I'm at over 80K profit already on the year. And of course that's before taxes, but here's the sales. This was as of yesterday. So 271, 622. So it's a little bit higher than that now, but you can see there's basically 3,900 total ordered units there. And my plan today is to kind of show you like how I'm doing it. Like I really want to truly give back, because to be quite honest with you, Amazon has completely changed my business. Like just a moment ago, I told you that this is the first year that my income from Amazon is actually going to surpass my income from teaching. And it's been such an incredible opportunity because what it has allowed to do for my family is take all of the money that I make from teaching and invest it in retirement accounts and invest it in taxable accounts. And so, this is a little side note about me, but I'm really interested in becoming financially independent really early in life. And a big part of that is, being able to increase your income and save a lot of money. And so having both my main hustle, 9 to 5 teaching job, and then also have this side hustle, which is now turning into almost my main hustle, even though I'm only working part-time on it, is truly a blessing. So what I want to do is honestly just give back because I think there's so much opportunity for growth, and I want to open people's eyes to the possibilities of, sourcing items, not even just books, but other products on Amazon. So I'm going to hopefully show you the way that it works and, try to help you not make some of the mistakes I made. So that's where we're going to go through. And by the way, I do want to say that I do have one virtual assistant that's currently on my team. So this is a person that does help me source books, and generally they help me source books when I'm actually not at home. That'd be when I'm teaching high school. So the good news about this is that, you don't necessarily need to hire people to build a team. You could totally do this on your own. Like, I've basically done it solo up until about a year ago. And still most of the sales come from my sourcing. So you could totally be a one man, one woman show, one person show and make it work. But actually one of my goals in 2024 is to try to buy back some of my time a little bit and try to leverage my skills as a teacher and as a coach to bring on some more virtual assistants to hopefully help me do some Amazon to Amazon sourcing, because at the end of the day, I'm sure everyone can attest to this. Like you guys need to find a balance in life. Like, I already have a 9 to 5 job. Like all this stuff that I'm doing with YouTube and selling books on Amazon, like it's all extra stuff. And so I kind of want to help buy back my time, make sure that I truly am utilizing all the time I can with my family and my wife and my son. So just to give you a little bit of background about how I started, back in 2015, 2016, there was this crazy guy on YouTube by the name of, I'm not sure if you guys know him, his name is Rakin Prof. And he was like, bada bing, bada boom, the profits are coming soon. And I was just absolutely hooked. At the time I was in college, I was my 4th year getting my bachelor's degree, and Steve Rakin and also, another big player, Caleb Roth in the game, they behind it, not necessarily in person, but through YouTube taught me the Amazon game, like how to sell books on Amazon, how to sell products on Amazon. And so I started really by just local stuff on my college campus. So I was directly at the source of the best products, the best books to sell on campus. That would be textbooks. And, basically I was able to start flipping textbooks. And, little bonus tip here, or, is that if you're on a college campus or if you live near one, if you join some of the Facebook textbook exchange groups, like there's free or for sale groups, there's textbook exchange groups specific to the local colleges in your area, I would absolutely join those, because I'm not even joking. Like every single day I would be in those Facebook community groups that had, a few hundred, 400, 500 people who went to those college campuses. And I would literally just refresh the posts like every 10 minutes. And every time someone would say, hey, I'm selling these books, I'm selling them all for $20 and they're all worth 70, 80 or 90, I would go say, hey, I'll meet up with you on campus. I'll give you cold hard cash for them. And that's really how I started. And what was amazing about, Amazon, the first way that it changed my life is now I was able to graduate with my bachelor's degree and also graduate with my master's degree completely debt free, all just cash flowing by, flipping textbooks. And so every single day, I was walking around with a bag of books, at least 5 books, sometimes 7, 10, sometimes even more than that. And I'm sure some people thought I was crazy, and I probably was crazy, but, Amazon has changed my life in multiple ways. But the reality of it is, once I left college, I kind of lost my source. And so I had to figure out a new way to source inventory, especially now that I'm a full-time chemistry teacher. I have a 9 to 5, I have a wife and I have a 1-year-old son. Like I don't really have the time to be able to go to a college campus, or for that matter, go to a thrift store or to go to a library sale. So the bottom line is that I had to figure out another way to try to find profitable inventory. And to be quite honest with you, the only way to do that was from 10 p.m. to midnight. Because if you think about my schedule, like I have to get up at 6 a.m. Actually, I get up a little earlier than that. Little side note, I get up at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. I go play some pickleball in the morning. So all my pickleball lovers out there, we can chat behind the scenes about that. But I recently got into pickleball about 6 months ago, and I'm loving it. I'm playing it every day for about an hour before school. But I get up really early in the morning, go play pickleball, go to school, come home. I got to hang out with my boy. I get to hang out with my boy. I love that. Get to hang out with my wife, get to make dinner, do some chores. And then by the time my son's in bed, it's right around 10 p.m. And that's the time that I have, from between 10 p.m. and midnight. That's the time that I've allocated to do this business. So I said to myself, I'm going to, at this time, sacrifice all the other things in my life that I like. I do enjoy other sports. I do enjoy, video games. I enjoy these other things. But what I would really love to do is help my family reach financial independence. So between 10 p.m. and midnight, that's when Joji, Superman Joji, goes to work. And, that's when my son is asleep. My wife's doing her own thing, her own hustles as well. But that's when I'm buying inventory and stuff. So, what's really fascinating about this model and what I love about it is that anyone can do this from home. You definitely need to have some skills with reading Keepa charts. You need to have some strategies for sourcing the books, which is what I'm going to share with you right now. But anyone can literally do this, because I can source from 10 p.m. to midnight every night, and I can find profitable inventory. My virtual assistant can work during the day and find profitable inventory. So literally doesn't matter. Amazon is open 24/7. They do not close like a Goodwill or a library sale. And so that's why I love it so much, is that everyone can do it. And to be honest with you, the opportunities are just absolutely endless. I focus specifically on books with this 8-way model, but the reality is that you can flip CDs and DVDs and electronics and board games. There's all these other niches that I don't focus on, because I've learned over time that the best way to get really good at something is to focus on one thing. And so I've decided I'm going to do what I'm best at, which is source books. But I can guarantee you that what I'm about to share with you today, you can actually use in these other categories as well. And possibly that could be your competitive advantage. You could get really good at flipping tools or really good at home goods. It's really up to you. And so I'm sure a lot of you are sitting there going, what the heck? How in the world does this A2A, Amazon to Amazon business model work? Well, there's a number of steps here, and I'm going to try to simplify it as much as I can. I'm sure later on in the end, you can ask questions about it. But essentially, the goal is that you're going to source a book from Amazon. And I know a lot of you are, you're going to stop me and go, how is it possible to find a book on Amazon that you can turn around and resell on Amazon? Well, what I want you to understand is that, Amazon is a massive marketplace that has tens and tens of millions of books and has hundreds of thousands of sellers. And, if you think about buying a book at a library store or a thrift store, you're buying books for $1, $2. And the way that you make money is like, the library selling or the thrift store selling a $20, $25, $30 book for $1 or $2, and you're able to buy it at a super cheap price and then turn around and resell it on Amazon. And really, the principle is no different on Amazon. Because there are so many sellers on Amazon, there are books that are always undervalued. And what I mean by that is, you could look at a software, which is what we're going to talk about a little bit later, called Keepa, where you could basically look at what books have been selling for over the last year, 3 years, 5 years. And for whatever reason, sometimes the price of books just get really cheap. They literally go on fire sale. It could be you have 2 mega booksellers like Thrift Books and Goodwill Books. So like I don't care what we sell the book for. Let's just sell the book. And so they might take a $50 book and erode the price down to $5 with the repricers. And that's when you can pick up a copy. Or, I hate to say this, but a lot of times when new sellers come on Amazon, they don't really know what they're doing. They don't know what to list their book for. So they might list a book that they should sell for 100 for $30, and you can snag that and you can grab it. And there's even things like, people, they're trying to put in the price of $82 for the book and they accidentally put $8.20, and boom, you can snag that book. So basically, the first step is you're going to source the book from Amazon. So you're going to find undervalued books on Amazon. Step number 2 is that you're going to get them shipped to your house. Okay. So you're going to get a package sent directly to your house. You're going to have to inspect it, make sure that the condition is good. You got to make sure that you're actually getting the right item that you should be getting, reconcile your inventory, make sure that they sent you the right thing. Because if not, you want to make sure you return it so you don't lose money, right? That's a big rule of business as well. It's like, don't lose money, right? So step number 3 is then you have to list the book on Amazon. So if you're doing your own listing, I personally use GoToLister for when I do listing. Most of the time I don't do my listing, but when I do, I use GoToLister, awesome software out there. And then you ship it off to Amazon FBA. And the book goes live for sale on Amazon. You price it accordingly based upon what it should sell, based upon historical sales data, and you get paid. And you just literally rinse and repeat the process. Now, one major bonus tip for you here is that one way that you can leverage your time is by getting something called a prep center. So what a prep center could do for you is basically steps 2, 3, and 4, which is that they could receive your packages for you. They can inspect them. They can reconcile inventory. They can list them on Amazon for you and ship them to an Amazon FBA warehouse. And that massively simplifies this even more, where literally you just go from step 1 to step 5 to step 6. You just go from sourcing the profitable inventory online and then getting paid money and then rinsing and repeat. And of course, I'm oversimplifying this process. It's not like it's that easy. There's a lot of things you have to learn. But the point is, if I were to simplify it as much as possible, that's the way that works. Okay. So, the A2A model is no different than traditional selling on Amazon. The only difference is, how we source our items. We source them on Amazon. And the reason for that is, Amazon's just full of thousands of books, thousands of media and other products that you could purchase daily and flip for some pretty high margins. Okay. So what I want to do for you right now is give you 4 ways that you can get started today finding inventory on Amazon. And it's going to be using a software called Keepa, which I'm sure if you're in the Amazon game, you've heard of Keepa before. It's, in my opinion, the #1 software for no matter whatever your model is, right? It doesn't matter if you're doing traditional OA, if you're doing thrifting or sourcing, if you're doing wholesale, like it really, in my opinion, Keepa is the #1 software out there. So I'm going to give you guys 4 ways that you can start sourcing right now. Okay. So that's going to be the Keepa Deals page, the Keepa Product Finder, Keepa Alerts, and building a replens list. So what I want to know right now in the chat is who wants me to show you guys right now a good way that you can go find books right now in Keepa Deals. So if you guys want me to show you, give me a 1 in the chat, or if you can say, show me something like that, because I'm really excited because this feature, Keepa Deals, in my opinion, is probably the best way to get started, especially if you're new. And there's just tons of ways to find some profitable inventory. So I see, let's go in the chat, show me the money in all caps. You guys are just blowing up. You guys, I'm literally like loving this. This is just amazing. Thank you so much for this support. This is awesome. Okay, so here's Keepa.com. So Keepa.com is a software that you can use to look at historical sales data. Okay, I'm actually just going to go to the main Keepa.com first. It is a monthly subscription. It's about $20 a month. Absolutely worth it. It's going to not only make you a lot of money, it's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to help you buy really good books and prevent you from buying bad books. Okay. So Keepa Deals. Once you're over on Keepa.com, there's a little tab on the top left, which is called Deals. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click that button, Keepa Deals. And essentially what you can do is try to find products literally in almost any category on Amazon that meet very specific criteria. The goal is you're trying to find a book, or in this case, any product that's dropped in price significantly based upon what it's sold for in the past. And what's amazing is Keepa gives you this as part of their software for just the $20 a month. It's probably the most the most hidden but most valuable feature of Keepa, in my opinion. It's just absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to show you over here is just a very quick way to set up some parameters so you can get sourcing tonight and you can try it out. So I'm looking over here at the top left at the table view. Specifically, I sell used books. Although you could look for Amazon, Amazon selling the book in new condition. You could look for third-party new sellers. You could even look for collectible offers, but I like to look for used books because that's my niche. That's my specialty. Okay. So we're going to look for used books, and we're going to limit the drop interval to the last day. And what I mean by the last day is we're going to try to find a book that has seen a significant drop in price today. And the reason why we want to find it today is because this is going to be a book that ideally is super undervalued that it would only last for a day anyways. Okay. So down here at the ranges, we're going to select a drop percentage range. So we're trying to find a book that in the last day has dropped by over 30%. So what that means is, like, let's say there's a book that's worth $100. If it dropped by 30%, that means today it's worth $70 or less. Okay. But not only are we going to try to find at least a 30% drop, we want the book to have dropped in use price by at least $20 as well. Not only that, guys, I know this is like super crazy. A lot of you guys are like, dude, what the heck? I mean, there's just so many filters. And the honest truth is that this is actually more of the simple part of it. But we're also going to look for a book that you can buy right now on Amazon for between $0 and $37. That's the price range. Okay. Now you're going to input a minimum and maximum sales rank. So I'm going to put the maximum sales rank at 3.5 million. One of the major secrets I can tell you right now is that books that are ranked over a million, 2 million, 3 million sell quite frequently, and they can sell for insane margins. And so many people pass up on those high sales rank books because they just think, oh, blanket statement, high sales rank book is a book that you don't want to pick up or buy. You know, the reality of it and the truth of the matter is that the overwhelming majority of books I sell are ranked well over 1.5 million. And that's just because I'm finding books that don't sell very often, but I'm finding them at such a cheap price and then turning around and reselling them for what they've historically sold for, that the margins on them are insane. So I'm going to go up to a 3.5 million sales rank. And I'm also going to sort by the newest first. And what that's going to do is show us offers that have just dropped in price literally 1 minute ago. And so the idea here is that this is like a continuous feed of potential deals that could be really good. I mean, look at this. This is the first book. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a book that I would buy, but this is what I'm talking about. This is a book that as of today, or actually yesterday, was at $146, and it just dropped down in price to $11.99. So, you know, you're going to have to keep do a little bit of keep a digging and research to figure out if $11.99 is actually a good buy, if that's a good price to buy the book at. And one of the things you're going to have to do is look at the past historical sales data, look at when the sales rank is dropping to get a good idea of what the book normally sells for. So I can already tell really easily and simply that this is a book that might be a little bit undervalued, but there's not enough profit on it because it generally sells between 20 to 30 bucks. But the concept that you just saw there of a large one-time drop in price is what is so amazing. Okay. And so what you can do is you can just use your cursor and you can go over these books and just, try to find books that have seen large one-time drops. And kind of what you're seeing right now is my trained eye. I'm almost literally like the Scout IQ triggers everyone, where I'm literally just going, no, 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 no. But I'm trying to find a book that's actually going to be a book that is something that I think can sell for some pretty good money. So let's see if anything here while we're live over the next maybe 20 or 30 seconds looks amazing. And the truth of the matter is not like every single book that you're going to find that comes up here is going to be a winner. So, here's a good example. This is a book that has had some sales rank drops. The used price has been 50, 60 bucks. You can see that today the used price just dropped from $79 down to 28. So again, this is the right idea. Again, I wouldn't pick this book up. There's not enough margin on it, but again, there's the concept. Okay. By the way, guys, what I want to tell you is that there's 857 potential products that came up with just that search. And there's tons of other different categories as well. There's movies and TV, there's home improvement, there's video games. And so there's all these different features, all these different categories that you can look in. And, I guarantee if you go through 857 of these, you're going to find a handful of really amazing books that you might be able to pick up for 10 or 15, turn around, flip for 50 or 60. So really hope that all made sense there. I know that was a lot. So with that said, let's get back to the slideshow. All right. So big bonus tip for you. This is massive. Amazon gives a Amazon Rewards Visa Signature credit card. They offer a credit card that gives you 5% back on every purchase, and it has a $0 annual fee. This card alone pays for over 1 month of rent for me per year. And so essentially, down the road, once you get to spending, $50,000 a year on book purchases, I mean, that's $2,500 in cash back. I mean, that's literally like a mortgage payment for a lot of people. So for me, I'm getting close to spending $80,000, $90,000 on the year. So I'm getting close to $4,000 of cash back, like literally free money just for buying profitable books on Amazon. So just a little tip there. That's an awesome credit card. And I think they usually run like $100 to $200 sign up bonus. So a really cool book there. Okay. So that was just one of the 4 ways that you guys can get started right now. The next one we're going to go over is Keep a Product Finder. And if you guys want me to show you how Keep a Product Finder works, just a really simple, very powerful Keep a Product Finder search. Again, go and put one in the comments if you could say, let's go. If you could just show me the energy, show me the love, because guys, I'm having the time of my life right now. This is awesome. So I'm seeing everyone, let's go, baby. Got one in the chat. Let's go. I see some emojis. Awesome. All right, let's do it. So Again, we're going to use the same software called Keepa. This time, instead of looking at the deals tab, we're going to look at the tab called the data tab. And once we're over at the data tab on the far left, there's a feature called product finder, which is just one of a handful of other features that is just amazing. And essentially what you can do with Keepa Product Finder is exactly that. You can find any product that you want. All you need is the imagination and the understanding of how you could potentially find that product. So what you'll see is that this is just completely overwhelming. There's new third-party FBM prices, there's used prices, there's warehouse dealers, there's list prices, eBay. There's like literally so many things here. But let me just simplify this and show you just one really simple search that you can use to find some amazing books. Okay, so what I'm going to do is scroll down to the used price here. And what I'm going to try to do is find a book on Amazon that's under $15. So in this little section, I'm going to go current price $0 to $15. And what I'm going to say is that over the last 90 days, this book has had an average used price of $45 or more. And so essentially what I'm doing right now is trying to find a book that generally holds a really high price over the last 90 days. But for whatever reason, today's price on Amazon is under 15 bucks. Okay. So I'm also going to come up here and say that Amazon is out of stock on this product. Not saying that you cannot compete with Amazon. You definitely can compete when you're selling used books. But let's just say for this search, we're going to go Amazon's out of stock. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is Control F, and I'm going to go and type in drops. Okay. And you're going to see that this says sales rank drops. So any of you who are Scout IQ users, you guys know that there's something called eScore, which is essentially a metric that tells us, how many days in the last 180 days a book has sold at least once. It's essentially how many times has a sales rank dropped in the last 6 months. So what we can say is over the last 6 months, we also want to find a book that's had at least 6 drops, which would indicate at least 6 sales rank drops. And then lastly, like I told you, like this is right now, the search is for any product on Amazon. So we actually have to be super specific. And what we're going to say is, let's look for the root category of books here. And you're going to see that this brings back 284 products that have had a 90-day use value of $45 or more. But right now, they're under 15 bucks. So again, not every book that you come across is going to be a winning book here. But the idea is there are going to be some books here that could potentially be some awesome winners. And so here's a book right here that I think is going to be an amazing seasonal textbook. So take a look at this. This is Communication Theories in Action. And by the way, this is the second result of the 284. And take a look at this. This is a book that has an amazing sales rank when it comes time for August, September. And this last August, September, use price got up to $50, $60, $70, $80. The buy box use prices even got higher than that. Tons of sales rank drops. What was so fascinating about this book is that for between March, April, May, June, July, this book was absolutely worthless. I mean, you could have bought it for $2, $3, $4, $5. But what you'll notice about this book is that if you look at the last 4,600 days, this book has a repeatable kind of ebb and flow cycle because it's a textbook. Like this is a book that nobody really needs in the off season, but students need it right before they go back to school. So what you'll see is that today's price, I guess over the last 2 days, has eroded. Like on November 29th, which was 2 days, or actually yesterday, the price was 43 bucks. And you can see it's actually all the way down here to 485. January textbook season is coming up pretty soon here. And look at some of these used buy box prices in the $100 range. Now, I wouldn't say that those are probably selling for that high, but this is a book that you might pick up one copy of. And, this would be a seasonal textbook that maybe pick up one copy of, try to sell it in January, try to sell it also in August, September as well. Here's the fourth book down. This is The Way I See It. A Look Back in My Life on the Little House. I mean, look at this book. You can see the most recent sales rank drops of this book have been when the lowest price on Amazon has been over $55. And then you can see just recently, this book dropped down to about $14.98, which is right under our filter. And if we look at this book over the last few years, it's a book that has historically done really well in the 30 to 40 range. And so I'm not saying that this is a book that I would even necessarily buy right now because there's a really high offer count on this book. And also it's not super undervalued, but I think you're starting to get the point that there's tons of books out there that could potentially be really great pickups. So I hope that really made sense. That was the second one there. And by the way, guys, really, really powerful bonus tip that took me years to figure out is that you can save your winning filters. So let me say that again. You can save your winning filters. If you're going to go to Keep a Product Finder and let's say, you had written down every single metric you use to find winning books. And then every time you wanted to search, you would go back and enter those details. Like it would take you at least 2 to 3 minutes to enter all the details in, get everything set up. But the amazing secret is that you can actually bookmark those exact filters so that you can go back and look at those filters all the time. So up here on my bookmark tab, you can see I have a whole bunch of product finder searches that I can right now with one click of the button, go ahead and enter in winning Keep a Product Finder filter so that maybe I want to look at that product finder filter every other day or every 3 days. I can do that pretty easily. So bonus tip there
Show
is that
us. We
okay,
want to
yeah,
see
yeah.
them.
What am I doing, Steve? What am I doing? I'm supposed to be a teacher. I'm not
Hey,
even showing you guys how to do it. All right, so here's
hey,
how you guys would do it. At the top up here, there's a little star button. This is where you bookmark this tab. So actually, I'm going to go back to advanced filter first. So I'm going to make sure that I'm here in the page with all the exact settings that I want. And then I'm going to come up here to the star icon. And then I'm going to go ahead and say that this page is going to be saved specifically to the product finder folder. And I can go ahead and click save. I can even label it, like I might label it 15, 45, 6 drops, something like that. I can click save. And then now all of a sudden, boom, 15, 45, 6 drops. So a really powerful tool that you guys can use to save those winning filters. And feel free to save that filter. We went through 4 books out of 284. And honestly, a couple of those first books, while they probably weren't books I would buy, they were definitely there. And I guarantee if you go through all those 200 books, you're going to find some winning books.
hey, and
Okay.
I want to jump in really
Yep.
quick. Give you a
Yep.
breath. Give you a chance to take
Awesome.
a sip of water. I want to let
Yep.
everybody know, because I'm taking notes over here too, because I'm an eBay to Amazon flipper. So this is really cool for me. If any of this is going over your head, guys, if any of this is like, I wish I could go back and check it out. We are recording this. So for the folks who are here live, we know who showed up live. We're going to send out a replay to you guys. So yeah, I know some people were panicking. Go back, show me how to do it. It's I got you. So don't worry. So just enjoy it and take it all in.
Yep. Awesome.
Thanks,
so
Joji.
far. Yeah, no worries. All right. So the third way, keep alerts, everybody. So if you guys want to show me, or if you guys want me to show you guys how to set some keep alerts, again, same thing. Can you give me some energy in the chat? Give me some ones, because this is one of the most powerful tools as well that you can use that is completely underutilized, that a lot of people don't use, that you can start using. Guys, from the bottom of my heart, I'm living this up. This is amazing. You guys are awesome. All right. So how do we use keep a track product feature or the keep alert feature? All right. Here's one of my favorite books of all time, Pictures by Jeff Bridges. This is a book that one day I was going to the grocery store to buy some, I don't know what it's, vegetables, whatever it was. There's a thrift store by this grocery store I always go to. I popped in there. This book was sitting on a table for $5. And this was a book that I was able to flip, sell, I bought it for $5 there at the thrift store, flipped it for 150. And I told you guys that I don't even do that anymore, right? But the point is that this book became a replen for me. What I mean by that is that this is a book that if you look at its Keep a graph on Amazon, you can see that it holds a really high use price. Literally over the last 4,600 days. For whatever reason, people really like, Jeff Bridges. They really like this pictures book. And the important thing to note about this book is that there have been times in the past where this book, for a very short period of time, got historically very, very low in price. Back here in September of the previous year, it was at right around $160, which is kind of where it normally hangs out. And then over about a week and a half period, it actually eroded in price from 160 all the way down to 43. And what that allowed me to do was actually pick up a couple copies of this book because I was tracking the book. And so the Keep a Track product feature is a little feature that shows up here on the Keep a graph. It's called Track Product. And what you could do is essentially track any product that you want for any price, whether that be in used condition, in new condition, from Amazon, from a third-party seller, the buy box price. If you want to track the used offer, you can literally track whatever you want. And the reason why that's so powerful is because you can leverage Keepa to do all that work for you, right? Because I don't want to be checking the price of this book every single day. I mean, that would take so much work if I had thousands of books I want to check every day, but Keepa can do that for you. So you can see that right now I have $65 set as the price that I want to track this book at. And essentially what that means is if this book ever gets to $65 or under over the next decade, everyone, over the next decade, I'm going to get both an email notification. I'm going to get a Telegram message. If I wanted to, I could get a web push notification. So I could get alerted pretty much immediately. So I can say, you know what? I know from past experience, having sold this book here. I mean, here's an example. Just this year, 12 months ago, 11 months, 2 months ago, 169, 200, 280, 199. I know that this book sells for a lot of money. And I know that if I could pick this book up for $65, there's going to be a great margin on this book. It's going to be a great pickup. So Keep alerts really allow you to track books so that if they ever do get to that desired price again in the future, you can step right in, buy those books, and then resell them over and over again. And I cannot, one of the major secrets that I can give you in the book selling online book arbitrage business as well is that the more books you sell, the more powerful you become because the more data you have. The more books that you sell, the more books have sold for X price. And you know that in the future that you should be looking for those books so you can sell them. In the beginning, it's a little bit harder because you might have never sold any books before. And so you don't have any idea of like which books you can buy again in the future. But the reality is that if you can find a book on Amazon right now, undervalued, the chances are that you can find it again and again and again, literally over the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Okay. Now, a little bonus tip I have for you here with the keep a track product feature is that, Keep actually allows you to track up to 5,000 books at any one time. Right now, I'm actually tracking 4,600 books. And most of these books that I'm tracking, by the way, are books that I've sold in the past. And the way that I like to do that, and this is actually going to fall into the building the replens list, is every time I sell a book, I go back and look at the Amazon listing. I try to figure out, what did I buy this book for and what did it sell for? And I set up a keep a track product alert so that I know in the future, if the book ever gets that value again, I can come back to the listing and I can decide whether or not it's still a good investment, whether or not it would still be a good buy, and I can flip it. And I can tell you that there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books that I've sold 2, 3, 4, 5. There's even a handful of books I've sold over 10, even over 15 times. And that's just by, the keep a track product feature. Okay. So that kind of leads us into number 4 is that once you guys start actually selling books, you should start building a replens list. And the cool thing about it is you don't even necessarily need to build a replens list on a separate spreadsheet. You could literally just build it in the tracking overview here with the keep alert. So you could just, every book that you sell, you can start tracking it, and that could be your replen list so that if there's ever a book that gets to your desired price, you can swoop in and you can pick up a copy. Okay, so now I'm curious, who out there would like to see some of my A2A flips? And by the way, these are going to be flips within the last week and a half. So if you guys are interested in seeing 10 books, and actually not all of them are books, by the way. If you're interested in seeing 10 flips for some pretty incredible profit that happened over the last week and a half, just go and put a 1 in the chat, please. Go for it. Show us, dude. You guys all are just absolutely incredible. Unbelievable. All right. So here we go, everybody. The archaeological Bibles do amazing on Amazon. I'm sure if you're someone who thrifts or does library sales, you know that from experience. But here's a Bible that I was actually tracking. I picked this up with the keep a track product feature. I was tracking it for $45, and this book dropped down to $43.98. I picked up a copy, and this is a book that historically could sell anywhere from between $120 and $160. And I was able to sell mine for right in that range, $138, $38. And you can see, let me move my bar here. So I sold that for a profit of $6. So it made a profit of $60 off that purchase. So bought it for $43.98. I recouped my entire investment back of $43. And then on top of that, made a profit of $60. Here's actually a textbook that is not even in English. This is actually a Spanish edition textbook. And I found this book with Keep a Deals. I bought it for $21.73, sold it for $60.64, made a $21 profit, 100% ROI. Here's a really niche book. Niche books do so well on Amazon. Books about specific topics, Birds of America, John's Audubon, a really popular old book. So this is a book, again, that I was tracking for $25. I was able to pick it up for $24.31. There was basically a repricing war between a Goodwill and some other large seller. Picked it up for $24.31, was able to sell for $90. And what's crazy is this is a book I've sold multiple times in the past. This is a book that I will sell, mark my word, multiple times in the future. I made a $35 profit on that, 147% ROI. Guys, this is a book about video games. This is about, I think this is a book about video games. Warhammer 40,000. And guys, what's so amazing about this is, like, if I'm being honest, like literally 75% of the books I flip, I have like absolutely no idea what they're about. Like, you look at the title of what the book's about, but a lot of times, like, I have no idea what this game's about. I know Warhammer, I think, is like a video game. I'm not quite sure, but in reality, the only thing that truly matters is what does the Keep a Graph say about what it historically sells for in the past. So here's a book that I picked up on Keep a Deals for $13.98. Sold this one for $79.99, made a $45 profit, 325% ROI. And those are the bread and butter flips that are going to be so great for you, because the books that have low capital investment that offer high potential return, those are the books that are start getting the ball rolling for you. We even got a book about Christmas songs. So this is a book, I think it's about piano playing, even though I'm not sure. And by the way, guys, I don't know if I told you this before, but all these books that I'm selling, I don't even touch. I actually send them to a prep center. My prep center receives them, inspects the books, sends them to an Amazon FBA warehouse. And then when customers buy them, Amazon FBA ships them out to the customer. So all I'm really doing is just looking at Keepa, trying to find undervalued books, buying those books, sending them to a prep center, and that's literally it. And they sell, they make a profit. So here's a book that does really well during Christmas, because, guys, who's going to want a Christmas book during July, right? So I bought this one for $5.98. This one sold just recently for $44.58, made a $24 profit. By the way, guys, remember, if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you 10 Christmas books that you guys can flip pretty much every single year. Add this one to the list. It wasn't even on there. This is the 11th book for you. You can usually pick this book up for under $7 pretty much the entire year. And then right around November, December is when it inflates in price, because that's when people want this book about Christmas. Now, this book was actually really awesome. This was the Tequila Ambassador. This book sold about a week and a half ago. And this was a high purchase price. Not only that, this was a book, guys, that has a 3.5 million rank. So I told you guys earlier on that, don't just believe that you can't sell books that have sales ranks over 1 million. I think that advice is often given, to a lot of times to people who are doing bulk and are, buying books from thrift stores and library sales with low average selling price. But, this is a book that sold for $325. So just know that the possibilities with Keep a Product Finder, finding books that have high values, like you can go into 2, 3, 4, even higher than that, 1 million sales rank. So here's a book that I bought for $88.88. And this was a Keep a Deals pickup. Was able to sell for $325 and made $176 just off that one book. This book here is actually one of my favorites, because this is a book that if you actually were to touch in your hands, because I actually did send one of these to my house because I sent it to myself as a replen, is literally like a book that you think has no value. It's like a pamphlet. It's a children's book. And literally, like if someone handed it to you, like you would think this book has no value. But I bought this book through a Keep Alert for $19.85, and I flipped it for $199.99. So I made $142 profit on this book. Again, that was a book that was bought on Amazon, sold back on Amazon. And by the way, I've sold that book multiple times. This book here is actually not a book. This is a 3-volume set, the Oxford Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt. I bought this book for $25. And basically the way that I bought this book set was there was a Goodwill and there was another mega bookseller who were in a repricing war. And one of the reasons why these books can erode in value so quickly and no one buys them is because they have high sales ranks. Like these are books that might only sell a couple times a month. They might only sell 20, 30 times a year. There's not someone looking at this listing every day with the intention of buying it. And so what that means is over a 1 day, 2 day period, you can have these books erode in value quite substantially, where you can swoop in and pick this up. I've sold this 3-volume book set twice before, and both times sold it for the second time I didn't sell for over 200. I think it was like $160, but both times have been incredible margins. And the last two are actually not going to be books, because one thing that I wanted to do over the last 6 months, especially my YouTube channels, is expand people's opportunity, or perception of how you could use these sourcing strategies. So what you guys are looking at right now here is actually a DVD. This is a DVD I bought on Keep a Deals for $25.84 in used condition. This is not a new DVD. In used condition, and then sold in used condition for $99.99. So I made a $50 profit on a DVD. Unfortunately, this one I did have to send to my house because my prep center doesn't do DVDs, but made a 200% ROI and amazing flip. And this last one is probably my favorite, because I'm sure a lot of you out there know the acapella group Pentatonics. I actually really enjoy the music that they put out, but this was actually a vinyl flip. This was a used vinyl Amazon to Amazon flip. So this is a used vinyl about Christmas that I picked up for $29.99. It was actually a vinyl that I came across on Keep a Deals. And I noticed that in the past during Christmas, it was something that when Amazon was in stock, it was flying off the shelf. But over the last couple of years, it really hasn't been available at all for sale. And so I thought, this is actually a vinyl that's probably going to do amazing during Christmas. And actually sold about a couple of weeks ago for $95, made a $41 profit. And the image you guys are seeing is actually of a CD, but the real thing was actually a vinyl. And I know that because I had to ship it to my house because I had to send it out. But again, the reason why I'm doing this is just to show you that there's opportunity in other niches. It's not just books. And I know what you guys are thinking, Joji, like, oh yeah, this is super easy for you. Like I can do this. But the reality is, everybody, is that no, it's not easy. And so I have some bad news for you. Most people who try this out, especially in the beginning, struggle a lot because they kind of lack to keep a foundational knowledge. There's really, a number of reasons why people really struggle with it. And, while this business model is very simple, most people really just become overwhelmed with everything here. Like I'm sure already on this call, a lot of you are like, oh, can we get the replay? Like, can you go back? Can you stop? And the reality is that I've been doing this for years. And so I've over the years built up experience and knowledge about how to do these things. And there's just literally so much information that you can consume on how to do this that, it seems really overwhelming. And so, there's really 10 reasons why, I found most people either stop doing it or fail. And they come down to this. Probably the biggest one, everyone, is that they don't understand how to use Keepa correctly and they make poor buying decisions. So, if you can look at a Keepa graph, like you should get to the point where you should be able to tell what that book's worth within like the matter of 3 seconds or less. And if you can't do that right now, that just means you need more you just need more experience. You just need more repetitions. But the bottom line is you have to be able to understand what something has sold for in the past so you can make a good prediction about what it will sell for in the future. So that's a big thing. Another thing is people get in trouble for selling counterfeit books. So as I mentioned, there are textbooks out there that are counterfeit, and you really have to be careful about the books that you're buying. So, some people might buy a counterfeit textbook. They might get test bought on their account. They might get their Amazon account suspended. So you really have to look out for counterfeits. You also have to look out for IP complaints. So, some people, unfortunately, they might not be aware of that. And so that's also one of the reasons why people fail doing this. A big one is that people can't figure out how to use the A2A sourcing methods correctly. So I just showed you 3 of the major sourcing methods. Those are the foundational sourcing methods. And a lot of times people struggle with them, and you are going to struggle with it because if you've never used it before, it literally is a foreign language. So until you actually sit down with it and get some repetition with it, it's going to be hard. And what I found is that a lot of people just aren't using them to the fullest potential. The Keepa product finder is literally a gold mine for finding so many books. There are so many Keepa filters that you can save that can find incredible books. And it really, Keepa product finder, the only limitation, honestly, is your imagination. And so, that's, people not really utilizing the feature to its fullest. Another reason is people lose motivation. They feel alone on the journey. Like, when I started 6-7 years ago, there was hardly anyone doing Amazon to Amazon book flips. There was a software called eFlip back in the day that Caleb Roth spearheaded, and I did a little bit of that, but there really wasn't a community for online book arbitrage. So a lot of times people just feel like, they're alone on this journey. Another reason is, people aren't taking advantage of tax exemptions. So get this, everyone. I live in California and the sales tax here is about 9%. Did you guys know that if you buy a book on Amazon, you guys can get sales tax exempt so that you don't pay an extra 9% sales tax? And the way that it works is you have to go through a little bit of a process. You have to fill out a form, you have to get a resale certificate, but essentially you can get your books sales tax exempt so that you stop paying it. But one of the reasons why people fail doing this is they don't do that. And so if you're paying an extra $2-3 per book, like that eats at the bottom dollar, that eats at the bottom line. Another thing is people aren't utilizing the best credit cards. I just showed you in the beginning, you guys can use the Amazon Rewards Visa Prime Signature credit card to get 5% back on every purchase. It's literally cash back, once again, super far in the future. But if you guys ever get to like, you're spending $50,000 a year, $100,000, that's like $2,500, $5,000. That's a mortgage payment, just for Amazon Flip. So, one really big reason is people don't set spend goals. They're not tracking their numbers properly. They don't know how to manage cash flow. So those are all, things that are kind of behind the scenes that are really crucial to the business. A lot of the times people fail because they don't realize that a prep center is a necessary step. I told you guys that, I'm a high school teacher. Like the only time I have to do this is midnight. And, it's actually a special occasion that I can be here right now with you guys because this is generally the time that I'm going to be making dinner or I'm going to be hanging out with my boy. And so I had to schedule this time weeks in advance so that my wife would know that, hey, this was the day that was really important to me. So generally, I'm like at this time I'm hanging out with family, right? So the idea is that if you're buying books and you're getting them shipped to your house, like it takes a lot of work and effort and sacrifice and time to list it and get it shipped to Amazon. So a lot of people fail to realize that the prep center is actually a key ingredient for you guys being successful. Another thing is that people get stuck sourcing a single niche. So like you might only be sourcing books. You might only be using the Keepa product finder filters that I found you. But the reality is that the more that you can experiment and the more that you can try new things, the better that you're going to get at potentially finding, little honey holes, which is what I call them, all these different product finder filters, Keepa deals filters, and so on. A lot of times people don't know how to price or reprice their inventory properly. And that's because they might not understand how to read the Keepa graph right. So they might buy a book for $20 and they think, oh, they can sell for 80 or 90. But in reality, maybe the book only sells for 50 to 60. And so if you don't understand how to read the Keepa graph, that means you don't know how to price the inventory right. And if you don't know how to price the book to sell, then the book doesn't sell and it just sits there. So, the last thing I'll say is that people get overly excited and, they might see something in Keepa deals and they might make a rush decision. They might buy right away and that turns out to be a bad buy. So, the reality is that I've made all those mistakes over the last 7 years. I fine-tuned the system and, it's taken me hundreds of hours to find the best solutions. And that's why I kind of wanted just to reveal them to you today. So the way that I see it, guys, is that, you guys got 2 options right now if you are really serious and you want to commit to doing this. So option number 1 is that you guys can take all the valuable information that I shared today on this webinar. You can go back, you can watch it. You can even dive into my YouTube channel, which in my opinion, and I'm biased, but in my opinion has tons and tons of free resources out there that I think will really help you out. So you can go there, you can try it for yourself. The bottom line is that, you're going to make mistakes. If you take massive action though, you're going to win. It doesn't matter because the content's there, the value is there. If you take action, you're going to learn from your mistakes and you're going to win. So as long as you don't quit, you're going to get the results. But there is another option. And this option is for those people who want to fast track the success. Like I said, I've been doing this over the last 7 years. I've learned many mistakes. I've lost thousands of dollars in the process of doing this. And so, the option number 2 is allow me to share with you the exact recipe that I use in my business to sell $25,000 on average per month. That generates about $8,000 of profit. And, the honest truth is that you're going to pay one way or the other. Either you're going to pay in the time it takes for you to make mistakes. You're going to pay in the mistakes that you make. You're going to pay for, the extra 6 months or a year or 2 years it takes for you to understand how to utilize Keeper Product Finder well. So you're going to pay one way or the other, right? So with option 1, you can still make money flipping from A to A without me. You just get to pay the price of wasted time. You might have some stress. You're going to have questions that might not be answered. You might make some bad buys. I mean, you're going to make bad buys regardless, right? It's just part of the process of learning. So what I'm really excited about today is that, over the last 4 months, I've been working so hard behind the scenes to build something that I think is really special. It's going to be called the Amazon to Amazon Masterclass. But before I share it, I just want to ask, to you guys out there, do you guys think I've shared enough value with you that, do I have permission to share my Amazon to Amazon flipping program with you and how I think it's going to help you get results faster without losing a bunch of money, without wasting your time, and giving you everything that you need just to jump right in and get started. So if you guys can give me permission, if you could comment A2A in the comment down below, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, knocked it out of the park. A2A, of course. Let's go. A2A, A2A, A2A. I'm seeing someone. Oh my gosh. Optimus FBA, Sonia, A2A, A2A. Okay, you guys are truly incredible and amazing. I'm honestly having the time of my life right now. This is awesome. So introducing everybody, the Amazon to Amazon Masterclass. I am literally so pumped for a variety of reasons. The amount of value and knowledge that goes into all these 100 plus step-by-step videos is insane. Literally, it was hours and hours of getting up early, foregoing pickleball people. I had to forego pickleball, for weeks at a time. I had to film at midnight. Like, there was a lot that went into making this course. And I'm relieved, honestly, because it took a really long time. It was a massive time, effort, sacrifice for me to be able to produce all these videos. Not only that, there's so much work that went behind the scenes to editing all the videos, just to getting simple things like, this graphic made and the thumbnails made. But introducing the Amazon to Amazon Masterclass. So I spent the last 4 months creating a step-by-step course, breaking down everything I've learned and how you can easily implement it to see results. And the truth of the matter is, like, on my YouTube channel, I've already had plenty of success stories. Like, there are people who reach out to me daily who say, hey, Joji, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for sharing all this information with me. I've sent my first shipment in. Just a matter of fact, someone just a day, like an hour before I came on, said, I'm a single father. I sent in my first 2 shipments in Amazon. I've already sold 5 books. And they said, thank you so much. And so the reality is that, over the last year and a half, I've been fine tuning my teaching skills. Like, you guys know, I'm already a high school teacher. So, I was already lucky to have the opportunity to learn how to educate and teach people. But over the last year and a half, I've taken people's feedback. I've taken the YouTube videos, improved them. And, my goal is I really just want to help people out there. And so, here's just some more examples of some testimonials. I got Spencer in the house. He's from, the E2A Masterclass with Steve Rakin. He says, in the Amazon space, Joji is the book king. His online arbitrage skills are unmatched, and his ability to share knowledge for easy implementation is remarkable. He said he started making money within a week of using the techniques. And by the way, this was all the free stuff, right, on YouTube. He said, I credit much of my Keep Understanding to Joji. He's humble, knowledgeable, and friendly, the ideal teacher. This is my good friend, Cindy. Cindy is like a mom to me. So I actually met Cindy back at the Miami Sellers Conference a while ago, and she's such a sweetheart. She's a super kind, genuine, loving person. But I met her in the E2A Master, mentorship program. She said, his videos have taught me how to use Keepa for sourcing good items. His encouragement, guidance kept me going, and he can help you in your Amazon business as well. And then one of my best success stories is Seagal. Man, I really love Seagal because Seagal is a person who puts in the work. Right? She's behind the scenes implementing everything that's there, and I really admire Seagal because she wasn't. I don't think she was doing much online book arbitrage before, but she said, Joji's a gifted and generous teacher. The free content on YouTube, particularly the live sourcing sessions, which, by the way, you guys can go check out for free, has been a game changer for my used book business. I have full confidence that the masterclass will be an extraordinary resource, offering a wealth of unique and creative book sourcing techniques. So what I want to do, guys, for you is I want to take you guys behind the scenes and share with you everything you guys are going to get inside the program so that you guys can absolutely just kill 2024. And by the way, it's a lot. It's 100 plus videos. And if you watch any of my YouTube videos, you know I'm not about fluff. I'm straight to the point. I'm like, here's the meat and potatoes. Here's everything that I lay out. So this beast of a masterclass is actually 13 modules. And so what I'm gonna do is just briefly take like a minute to go over everything that you're gonna get if you decide to sign up for this. So first thing is just getting started. So the module is just the things that you need to know in the beginning. They're really basic things that took me a while to figure out. And they're basic because now people ask me these questions all the time. So I have answers to them. But when I started, I had to figure this stuff out myself. Can I be a sole proprietor, or do I have to be an LLC? Do I have to, can I buy in a personal or business Amazon account? Well, Amazon Prime flips get me banned. How can you get an immediate 10% return on your purchases with credit cards, with also being sales tax exempt, making sure that you look out for restricted books. This is a big one here. You guys are going to run out of money. Like if you guys use all the sourcing techniques in here, you guys are not going to have enough money to buy books. And so one of my videos in the getting started is like, whoa, guys, like, hold on. Like you guys should really be spending time going through all the potential books because you guys are going to run out of money because there are so many books to buy. And I also say, you need to go slow to go far, right? If you guys want this to be a long-term business, 2, 3, 5 years in the future, you guys have to set up a profit-first system where you guys actually have a system that's paying you money. So, should you buy acceptable condition books, softwares and tools that I recommend? And by the way, it's not that many because guess what? You don't even need that many softwares or tools. So then you guys are going to jump right into module 1A. And module 1A is all about mastering Keepa. So this is actually a beginner Keepa class. I'm going to go over literally every single thing on the Keepa graph that is relevant to you that you need to know about. And this is really going to help you look at past historical sales data to make sure that whenever you're looking at a book, you can look at, what the Amazon new prices, what the used prices are. You can get a really good understanding of what books are selling for, because that really is the name of the game. If you can easily look at a book and understand what it sells for, then you know what a good purchase price would be. But if you look at a Keepa chart and you have no idea what a book is worth, what it's sold for in the past, whether or not today's price is cheap or whether or not it's expensive, then things are going to be a lot hard. So we're going to talk about sales rank. We're going to talk about the used buy box. We're going to talk about, warehouse deals and zooming into the Keepa chart, identifying IP complaints, viewing a book's entire historical selling data. So this is really the beginner Keepa course. And so this is something that's going to be a great refresher if you're somebody who's already in the Amazon game. But for somebody who's new, this is kind of the foundational piece that you're going to need to build off of. So a really powerful and really important Keepa class there. Now, module 1B is going to be where you guys up the game with Keepa. This is where I'm going to talk about things like how I determine the value of books in seconds, how I determine the value of rare books, how I read those weird Keepa charts out there where you don't know what the book sells for, why sales rank is important and unimportant, how I compete with Amazon on the listing, how low offer counts have made me thousands of dollars, but then also some of my mistakes. Like there's going to be things like, how new edition textbooks that I bought years ago lost me thousands of dollars. It's going to be how seasonal trends have made me thousands of dollars, right? There's the 10-step profit checklist, the 3X rule that's made me thousands, the major pitfalls. There's literally so much here, and it all comes down to the Keepa course. So by far, this is like the meat and potatoes of the course. Like this is where you're going to be able to look at all these different nuances on Keepa and really be able to tell like, okay, these are the most important things that I need to know about identifying if this is a good book or not. Okay, so then we're going to go into modules 2, 3, and 4, and this is the foundational piece. So module 2 is going to be a deep dive on Keepa. It's going to be, how Keepa deal has made me thousands. I'm going to go over multiple examples showing you books that I bought using Keepa deals. And unlike today, where I just really briefly went over it, I'm going to go super in depth and show you why I bought the book. So I'm going to go through the 10-step profit checklist and tell you my thought process about why I bought the book. I'm going to give you my favorite Keepa deals filters so that you can use them and save them on your own. I'm going to tell you everything that I'm looking for in a winning book, how I dominate the competition with Keepa, and so on. Okay. Module 3 is going to be all about Keepa Product Finder. And, Keepa Product Finder is by far like the most undervalued Keepa research product, in my opinion, because there are so many ways that you can use it. Today, when we used it, it was just a really simple search, but there are plenty of ways that you can use Keepa Product Finder that I don't, haven't necessarily shared on YouTube that you guys are going to get within this course if you do decide to buy it. So how to flip mispriced collectible books, how to use rising reviews to find winning books, how to find expensive books with large drops, how to find ridiculously cheap books with great margins. So we're going to go over that in module 3. Module 4 is going to be about using the Keepa Track product feature. So I'm going to give you my track product settings, everything that I'm looking for in a book, how I determine when to track a book. And I'm also going to start pairing some of the other modules, like some of the other sourcing strategies, specifically Keepa Product Finder, to show you how you could use Keepa Product Finder to find tons and tons of books that you can start tracking and eventually get alerts on that you can buy in the future. So that's module 4. Module 5 is going to be just a quick module about how you can start replanning books. So I told you in the beginning, one of the most important ways that you can scale your business is that once you sold a book, is to not forget about it. That's a book that you have historical sales data about now. That's a book that you've sold in the past that you can sell again and again in the future if you can find it for a good price again. So that's what that module is about. Module 6 is about seasonal sourcing. So I've got 5 books down here that are seasonal books. You've got books about sports, you got books about Christmas, you got books about Thanksgiving and Halloween and Jewish holidays and Easter. There's tons of books out there that have seasonal trends. And one of my good friends, Victor Gallegos, he runs a Facebook community group, and shout out to him, man. He's the one who opened my eyes about seasonal books. But there are tons of ways that you can source seasonal books. Christmas is right around the corner, and just today I've sold 3 different Christmas books. These are books that I bought for like under $7, and they sold for over $30, $40 already today. So you're going to get that in module 6. Module 7 is actually the nitty gritty. This is the stuff that's not very sexy, but this is the stuff that actually is going to make sure that you're profitable or not. And so this is going to be you tracking your purchases. So I'm going to give you my exact spreadsheet for how I track every single book purchase. So, I bought over 4,000 books this year. Every single one of them is in a tracking spreadsheet. And that tracking spreadsheet is going to show you how you can track your business expenses. It's going to show you how you can track your profit and your key performance indicators. So that's going to be a really important module. It's not going to be a sexy module, but it's going to be one that is going to be really profitable. Now, module 8 is just going to try to make it way easier for you guys to actually integrate with a prep center. A lot of people, and I was this for years, literally like for 3 years on the sideline, I did not get a prep center because I was afraid of a whole bunch of things. Like, what if my prep center steals my inventory? Like, I have to talk to people on the phone. Like, what happens if they lose my inventory? And what was so amazing and was an epiphany to me is as soon as I set it up, it was literally like 1,000 times easier than I thought. So module 8 is going to be all about you starting to allocate the tasks that you don't really need to do to other people. There are prep centers out there. The one I use is called Central Virginia Prep. There are prep centers out there that can do what you do more efficiently, faster, and take all that stuff off your hands so that you don't have to do it. And more importantly, they can give you the time back so that you can start using that time to source inventory. So I'm going to tell you about how to get a prep center and how it's way easier than you think. Then I'm going to talk about pricing, because at the end of the day, the only way that you're actually going to sell something is if you actually list it at a price that somebody wants to buy the book at. And that's where the repricing theory comes in. So I'm going to give you guys my exact Be Cool repricing settings. I'm going to tell you how you can set profitable min and max prices, but also establish those low and high selling prices for exactly what the book should sell for. And again, that comes back down to reading keyword graphs. So that's a really important module. It's all about how to price your book. Now, probably the most underutilized module is going to be the Profit First system. So this is one of my favorite books of all time. It's written by Mike Michalowicz, called Profit First. Essentially, the point of the Profit First book is that if you are a business, the goal of a business is to make you money. And I want you guys with this Amazon Masterclass to actually make money. And so what you guys are going to do is set up the Profit First system. It's a number of accounts. It's almost like the cash envelope system for budgeting, but it's a way that whenever you get a paycheck from Amazon, the first thing that you do is you pay yourself profit. The next thing that you do is pay yourself a salary, which is called owner's compensation. And then from there, you go to operating expenses, to taxes, and then reinvesting back into cost of goods sold. So it's basically a very simple cash flow management system that I'm going to show you exactly how to use in that module. And it's to make sure that you're actually making money. Module 11 is just, super valuable in that it's straight to the point. Here's how to get tax exempt on eBay and Amazon. Do it. Why are you not doing it? Like, why would you want to be spending $8 or $9 for every $100 that you're spending, right? You're just wasting money. So this is all about how to get sales tax exempt, not just on Amazon, but also on eBay. And then module 12 is going to be just about the softwares that I use. And hint, guys, it's not a lot. Like, I'm not trying to sell you guys on a lot of softwares you need. You literally just need Keepa. You arguably need SellerAmp. I would argue that you probably need it. You need Keepa, SellerAmp, and a repricer like Be Cool. And that's literally it. Okay, last module here is going to be about counterfeit books. So I'm actually going to tell you about a really scary situation back in 2021 when my account almost got permanently banned. And at that time, I told you guys, like, I've done all the mistakes. I made all the mistakes. And the biggest mistake I ever made on Amazon was not realizing or understanding that counterfeit textbooks were a thing. So I'm going to go into my story about how I unknowingly sold some counterfeit textbooks and how I got called out for it and how my account almost got banned. So that's a really important module for you guys to watch as well. And I know you guys are sitting there thinking like, Joji, or you're just pitching us and selling us on a bazillion-dollar course. And so you're like, Joji, how much is this going to cost? And the reality of it is that, Steve and I, we talked behind the scenes quite a bit. And to be honest with you, we thought the original price of like $797 would be a price that was fair, because we still felt that, or I know that the value in the course is well beyond $790. So even if that was the price of it, which is not, by the way, but if that was the price of it, I would still feel good, because I know that the amount of time, effort, and sacrifice that went into making this would be worth it. But we also know that, this is a time where people are tired of being sold on courses. And I genuinely want you guys to win. I genuinely want you guys to have a really good product that's going to work for you. So, I'm on pace to do 100K profit this year. And so, like I said, with that price, I think it would be more than fair. But Steve and I, for a limited time, until we get more testimonials, until some of you start feeding in and say, we really like the course and giving us good feedback, we're going to offer you guys, as new students, a special 50% off deal. So the one thing that you have to promise, though, is because we are offering it for a cheaper price, because, we don't have tons of testimonials, is that please, if you find value in the content and you feel like it's well worth it, if you could just promise to be willing to at least leave a testimonial, it'd mean the world to me, because like I said, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into making this course. And if you guys would be happy to provide testimonials after going through it, obviously give us feedback and so that we can make it better as well. But if you guys can promise to do that, then we're gonna lower the price. So I hope that sounds fair. I don't know what you guys think in the comments, but so for today, you guys can get started for half the price, which is going to be $397 for this, for the Amazon to Amazon Masterclass. And, that's the Amazon to Amazon Masterclass. So, let's see. I'm not a sales pitchy kind of person, but we did really want to make this really good for you. So, but wait, I have to do it, but wait, there's more. So we are actually going to make a limited time offer for you guys, because we want to make sure that you guys get even more value. Like I said, if this course was sold for $797, like I wouldn't feel bad at all. Like I feel like the value in it is well worth way more than that. But we still want to give you guys, especially for those of you who take fast action, even more things. So here's what we're going to do. If you guys do buy the Amazon to Amazon Masterclass, what we're going to do for you is, for only the people watching the webinar, no one else, only the people watching the webinar now are going to get additional videos. Okay. So you guys are going to get these fast action bonuses, which means that if you guys are here and you guys buy right now, you guys are going to get my favorite CD filter. So you guys know that my whole model is flipping books Amazon to Amazon, but I told you that you guys can use these same filters and you can use these same sourcing strategies to basically source a whole bunch of other products. And so over the last 7-8 months, I've actually been testing out all of these different categories. So I've tested out CDs, DVDs, video games, and I showed you like a CD. I showed you a vinyl. Excuse me. I showed you a vinyl. I even showed you a DVD that I had flipped using Keep a Deal. So what I'm going to do, again, for only the people that sign up today as part of the webinars, we're going to give you guys my favorite CD filter. So it's a personalized video that's going to give you, I believe it's 5 or 7. I don't remember, 5 or 7 of my favorite CD filters that I had used to find profitable CDs. And again, I'm not really going to be focusing on sourcing CDs or DVDs, because I was just interested to see if the model works, and it does. I'm focused on growing my business, selling books. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on there. But you guys are going to get, fast action bonus 1, my favorite CD filters. You guys are also going to get my favorite DVD filters, which is also going to be another set of 5 to 7 DVD filters that you guys can just literally plug in. You can save them. They're Keep a Product Finder filters that you can save, and every day you can tap on them and find some good inventory. And then lastly, the third fast action bonus is you guys are also going to get my favorite video game filter. So I didn't include one on the Amazon, in the beginning, but I have flipped video games as well, Amazon to Amazon. And again, all this, by the way, is in used condition. Like I'm not doing any new flips. I'm all doing used things, but we want to make it even better than that. So we're going to go even one step further. And bonus number 4, guys, just to make this literally make this offer so good that it would just feel really silly for you to say no. Like if you're committed to this, this offer is, in my opinion, so incredibly crazy that you would I would feel silly not to do this if I was really committed to it. Is that if you guys use the code SAVE100, we're going to give you another $100 off. And so the course is actually only to cost you $297. And one thing that I want to say is, Steve and I did talk about the pricing of the masterclass a lot behind the scenes. And the reality of it is we want to find a sweet spot. We want, the number one goal is to help people take action. And that's what the course is for. And while I know that this thing is worth well beyond $297, the last thing that I want to do is erode it to a price where people don't think it has value, because that can be further from the truth. This thing is so valuable. It takes so much time and effort for me to make this, that already at $297, it's almost like an insult to me, where it's not an insult, but it's almost like it's getting to the point where it's so cheap, it's so undervalued, that I know that this is just an amazing deal. So basically the way that this works is that, oh, by the way, before we get there, is that there's also a bonus option. So right now, I know that Black Friday just happened. I know that Cyber Monday happened. Christmas is coming up. I agree that it's kind of a weird time to launch. And the reality of it, guys, is that we plan to launch earlier, but with my schedule, only really being able to film late at night and early in the morning, due to the fact that I filmed over 100 videos and they all had to be edited, like it took a long time. So it's kind of a weird time for this to be launching. But the idea here is that if you're somebody who's kind of, doesn't got the capital up front to invest, you can take advantage of our payment plan. So if you want to do 3 payments of 127 instead of the 297 upfront, guys, make sure you use the save 100, right? To get it off cheaper, then you can do that as well. Bonus number 6 that we're going to give you guys. So this is going to be for anyone who buys into the Amazon masterclass. But, one of the things I mentioned is that, being lonely, like in the beginning stage, 2016, 2017, 2018, it was like unheard of. Like there were people doing it, but it was pretty much unheard of to have a community of Amazon to Amazon book flipping. And so what I wanted to do for you all was actually build a dedicated private Facebook community group only for people who buy the course, that I'm going to be in pretty much on the daily, answering you guys' questions, trying to help you guys out. So you guys are going to have a private Facebook community group. That's where you guys can get your questions answered. That's where honestly, we can all network. And we're going to go even further than that. Like literally, we try to make this deal so good that, like we said, it would feel almost stupid to say no to it. So if you're really into this and you really want to commit to it, we're also going to give 3 months of live coaching. So when I say we, I mean me. I mean me. So basically, the way that it works out is a 1 day a week for the next 3 months. For anyone who buys, you're going to be part of group coaching. So essentially, anyone who buys, we're gonna come together as an entire group, and I'm going to go ahead and go over specific lessons that are in the Amazon Masterclass. I might even throw some extra bonuses in there for you, but essentially, it's just going to be live. Like we're going to go over specific aspects of the Amazon to Amazon Masterclass. It's going to be a live interaction where you guys can ask me questions and we can hang out and we can talk. So that's going to be 3 months of live coaching, 1 day a week over the next 3 months. And what I'll say, guys, is that, as a high school teacher, I can confidently say that for $297, like there's no way that you're going to find a better deal. Like with all of the information and content that's been packaged and organized in this way, like I would literally think it's impossible that you're going to find, like at this moment, a better deal for this model. Like I don't see anyone else doing, making a masterclass, anyone else making a step-by-step guide to do this. So, that you're going to get a tried and true hands-on education that can help you get better results, in your Amazon book business. One really important thing that I have to say, though, this is just to cover my butt, is that just because you buy doesn't mean that you're going to succeed. You actually have to take action as well, right? There's tons and tons of videos, so you're going to have to watch those videos. But more importantly, you have to take action on what's in there. And what's really amazing, by the way, is what I think is going to happen is a lot of people are going to start watching the videos, start implementing what they find, and they're going to find that they're going to become wildly successful. And then they're going to be like, oh my God, I got all these other videos to watch, but what I'm doing is already working. And so they're going to be like, well, what do I do? Go watch these other videos, or do I keep doing what's working? And so that, like I said, I think the value in this course is absolutely insane. And one thing that I want to let you know is that it really is risk-free. Like, don't forget that you guys can test drive it, no risk. If you guys don't like the course for whatever reason, we'll give you a 14-day money-back guarantee. And I honestly know I hope it doesn't happen, but there might be somebody out there who decides to take the class and just refunds it and takes all the valuable information. But, in reality, it is what it is. And what I care about much more is that you guys feel good about it and that you guys know that this is risk-free. So that's my promise to you. That's Steve's promise to you, that if you guys don't like it after 14 days, you guys can get all your money back, and whatever content you consumed, you can just say that it's completely free. I think even with whatever you consume, it's going to be super valuable anyways, but there's that for you. So what I want to do is kind of just stack everything for you so you can understand literally how much you'd be getting just for this offer. So you're going to get lifetime access to the Amazon Masterclass. By the way, guys, there's going to be updates to it. I'm going to make new videos to it. And so I value that. Honestly, I value the course at like at least $1,000. Like I'm going to make close to $100,000 of before tax profit. And I'm doing this while I have a 9-to-5 job. I'm doing it literally at 10 to midnight. So I know that what I've been able to accomplish is a result of hard work and learning all these things that, I'm not saying that you guys are going to get that results right off the bat, because if I'm being honest, I've probably looked at over 100,000 keyword graphs. Like I've literally looked at tens and tens and thousands of graphs. I mean, just this year, I've sold 4,000 books, and not every book that I come across do I buy, right? I might buy 1 out of every 10 books I look at. So just right there, this year, that would have been 40,000 keeper graphs that I looked at. So there's a lot, right? It's not like it's easy, right? There's a lot that you have to put into it, but you guys are going to get my Keepa beginner course. That's at the beginning, and that's going to be module 1, where you're going to learn everything that you need to know about making sure that you understand what a book is worth, so that you can easily just, with the 2 or 3 seconds, the click of a button, you can say, okay, this is a book that potentially is going to be a good flip. You guys are going to get the more advanced Keepa mastery course. So that's where we go a little bit beyond just the more foundational pieces. This is where I'm going to teach you about the things in the Keepa graph that if you miss, they're going to cost you money. If you spot these things, these are the things that are going to make you money. So it's a little bit more advanced. So I value that at least $200.97 or $297. I'm going to give you guys a number of Keepa Product Finder creative sourcing strategies. These are ways that I found books over the last few years that I didn't really share on YouTube, because while I do want to help people on Amazon, at the end of the day, I also have, while I do want to help people on YouTube, at the end of the day, I still have a business to run, right? So I couldn't necessarily give away everything, but because you guys are trusting me in this product, I felt like it's only fair that I give you guys everything, so that, you guys have everything you need to be successful. I'm going to give you guys my favorite Keepa Product Finder and Keepa deals filters. I'm going to give you guys my exact tracking spreadsheet. I'm going to give you guys the counterfeit prevention guide, my top 25 book niches, my 10-step profit checklist. And then again, all the things down here that aren't necessarily sexy, but things that are going to make a big difference, which is the cash flow management system. I'm going to show you exactly how to set that up, my exact B Corp pricing settings. You're going to have a private Facebook community group. You're going to get 3 months of live coaching. That's going to be big, 3 months of live coaching, because you can actually ask me questions in the flesh and live. And so if you add all that up, it's basically $3,500. And honestly, the value in it is incredible, especially for, I think, what we're charging for. So you can start today, for the best possible deal. I can guarantee you that $297 is absolutely the cheapest it would ever be. Like, it's never, ever going to be cheaper than that again, because it would almost be an insult to the value that's in the course if it was any cheaper than that, in my opinion. And my reminder to you is that, don't forget to apply the limited time $100 off coupon at checkout if you guys want to save an extra $100 and take it from $397 to $297. And the way that you guys would do that is you'd come down here. So by the way, you guys would be at rakeandprofit.com/A2A, and you would just go ahead and type in the code, all caps, save 100, and you can go ahead and complete the order. And that's that. You guys would have access. So if you guys are having trouble purchasing the program, or if you need any help, we do have people here to help. So Steve is very generous. He's offered help from his team. So you can reach out to, support at rakeandprofit.com, and you guys can get customer support there. The team is staffed there to help you with anything that you need. And also, one other thing we want to mention is that some people like to pay in PayPal. And so one thing Steve did behind the scenes was made sure that if you want to pay with PayPal, you can. So if you prefer to use PayPal instead, then what you need to do is just email us with the headline. And by the way, this would be at support@rakeandprofit.com. Just email us with the headline in all caps PayPal. And then basically we'll send you a custom invoice. And that, the only thing is though, that it's a little harder to do that. So it's only for full payment. It wouldn't be for, the 3 monthly payments. So there's that for you. And last thing that I want to say, guys, is if you were here to the end, which I see there's 270 people here. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I really do genuinely appreciate it. I wanted to give you guys free value. So regardless of if you buy or not, check out the YouTube channel. I honestly believe you guys can be successful just with that alone. But if you guys want the fast track, that's what the Amazon Masterclass is for. But if you guys want the 10 Christmas books, the 10-step profit checklist, if you guys want the counterfeit prevention guide, then you guys, can just go to rakeandprofit.com/mybonus, and you guys can download all 3 of those templates. And those, in my opinion, are very valuable, and they're free, just to say thank you for your time and appreciate it. So with that said, Steve, Q&A. Any questions? Any questions in the comments for people? Ton.
We got a ton of questions, man. First off, big shout out. We've had, I don't know, probably 20, 30 people already joined so far. So I know awesome. Des and Tony's in the comments shouting people out. You should be receiving an email shortly as well. So check your inbox or your spam. If for one reason or another you don't get the email, we have 4 people on staff right now looking to take care of you guys at support@rakeandprofit.com. So thanks again, everybody. And Joji, great presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, we'll be sending out the replay to everybody as well. So definitely stay tuned. So let me ask some questions. We got a bunch of different questions here that I've written down.
Awesome.
I did my best to get them all. Actually, I wanted to share a comment with you. I don't know if you know who Zachary is, but he put a comment in earlier and said, you taught this last week during the meeting with Avery and Victor with that presentation and found a book for 22 that sells regularly for 340. Keep in all caps. Thanks, Joji. So
You're
I
welcome.
wanted to share that
It's
with you.
awesome.
But first question is, how many hours does it take to go through the course?
Ooh, it's gonna. So here's what I'll say is that I think I haven't done the math, but I want to say the course is probably close to like 20 plus hours of content. So it might literally take like an entire day of just playing every video nonstop. But the point is that there's literally so much value and content in it. Like I mentioned, I think what is going to happen is you're going to start watching videos and start just applying what you see in some of those videos, and you're going to start being pretty successful. That honestly is going to take. It's going to take a while, like for you to digest. But again, one thing, Steve, I want you all and everyone I want you to know is that I didn't like fluff anything. It's literally straight to the point. It's supposed to be the most important things you need to know. So it's going to take a while, but it's going to be good for you.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows as well, I mean, I take a lot of courses. I go through courses. Some courses you go through, like the videos are just like poor quality. Like we had, I'm not even kidding. We had 4 video editors on
We
this
did.
full time. Like we spent
Go
hundreds
hard.
of hours editing these videos to make it enjoyable for you guys, because I know this how much keep information can you take until you want to just throw up. So we tried to make it fun and engaging, and yeah, I'm sure you guys will definitely enjoy it. Okay. Another question we got was, is the course okay? I believe this was from Sarah. Sarah was
Okay.
asking, she had a friend who's on the newer side of reselling. Is this
Okay.
course good for her, or is this more for someone advanced?
Good question. I would say that a lot of it is probably geared towards people who have at least some experience selling on Amazon. With that said, the beginning part of the course, the Keep a foundational piece, is a beginner Keep a guide. So I do honestly believe that even if you're new to Amazon, you could start with that and you can do well. What I will say is that it's not so beginner friendly that I'm like showing you how to set up an Amazon seller account. So I would hope at this point, like you've already set up an Amazon seller account. So if you've already got past the point of setting up an account, then I think this would be okay for you. But if you're like you don't even know how to set up an Amazon seller account, then this would be something that I think once you kind of learn a little bit more about Amazon, that's when you can come back to it.
Yeah, and for anyone who wanted the bonuses, it was rakeandprofit.com/my bonus, the free bonuses for folks. We'll put that in the course as well. So if you did join the course, we'll put that in there, but those are free for everybody. Another question we got, this was earlier on in the training, Joji. People were
Yeah.
asking, can I sell books as new? Do you sell books as new, or do you only sell used? I know the
That's a
answer,
great.
but I want to know.
Yeah, it's actually hilarious. I was just thinking about a video that I'm gonna make here pretty soon, and I was looking at a seller on Amazon who has like 71% feedback, and I was looking at a couple of books that they were offering for sale, and they're offering them for sale in new condition. And I went in and checked out like why does this person have such bad feedback? And literally every feedback was this book's not new, this book has writing in it, this book's not new, it has stains on it. So there are definitely people out there who will buy used books and sell them in new condition. This is actually a bad example of someone who's doing a terrible job of it. I personally, just by principle, don't think it is right to take a used book and sell it in new condition. So I don't ever do that. With that said, I know that there are people who have done that. I would just say that technically, that's against Amazon's terms of service, but also just know that if you do sell a new product, Amazon can come after you and say, hey, provide the invoice to show that you bought this from a distributor in new condition. And if you don't have that, then you kind of are in a weird situation. You're in a tricky situation. So I personally don't sell new books on Amazon. I only sell used books.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is I sell all new items, but I don't
Yeah.
sell new books because for some reason books are kind of funny. Amazon really is a stickler for condition with books. And
Yeah.
some folks I know, if you sell books as new, they want proof and invoices like you had mentioned. So for books, I only sell used. Bob and Optimus FBA, good point right here. The course is tax deductible. So obviously, we're
Let's
not
go.
CPA, but I I purchased some money on coaching and whatnot because I made a lot more money this year than I wanted. So I'm trying to lower my taxable income a little bit. So yeah, it is tax deductible as well. Talk to your CPA. All right, let me go through the questions because I got a whole stack of them. So let's fire
Yep.
through these.
Let's do it.
How much money do you need to start A2A flips was a question we got earlier.
Great question. Okay, the absolute best way to do, or I should say, you probably should have a little bit of startup capital. So I would say, if you're close to $0, that's going to be very difficult. But if you have multiple thousands of dollars, you're going to be able to fast track much quicker because you'll be able to buy more books. But what I will say is, if you are strapped for cash, if you have like less than $500 to spend, So if you have 200, 300, 400, 500, what I'd recommend is in the Amazon Masterclass, there are specific filters that you can use to find lower price books that have the potential to have really high margins so that you can start to get the ball rolling. But the reality of it is that, I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like if you have more capital, you can buy more books, period. And if you can buy more books, then you can get more sales revenue, you can make more profit. But when I started this, guys, it was 2016, right? I was a college kid. I didn't have any money. I was just trying to pay off my cash flow, my college education. So I didn't really start with much. It really is a snowball effect. So it really just comes down to making, like, especially if you don't have a lot of money, making really, really smart buys, being really diligent, and really scrutinizing the books that you're thinking about buying and making sure you're only buying the best books, because you got two resources: you got capital and you got your time. If you're limited on the capital, then you need to spend more of your time finding the best books. Now, I'm at the point where, because I can't really source that many hours a day, I've actually got more capital than I have time. So I can kind of loosen up a little bit and spend a little bit more money, but you can definitely get started with not a lot of money. But I will not lie and say that, it's going to be a little challenging in the beginning, but once you get it flowing, it'll be better.
So funny, some of these comments. I've done a lot of trainings and webinars over the year, and I've never had so many people say, let me give you my money. What's the link? What's the link? So the link is, we put it in the comments. Joji, can you make your screen full screen? It's hiding the link. I know some people are asking for it.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Right there.
Oh, no, you're good. So there you go. It's at the bottom, rakeandprofit.com/A2A. Okay, perfect. Let's keep flying through. And big shout out, Anthony just joined, OJ Miller,
Let's go.
Nick.
I'm so excited for you guys.
CD Stone. I could only see the emails, so some of the names don't have the emails in it. Oh, this was a funny question, but it's actually a really good question. So Joji, this was during the presentation when you gave away those 10 flips. They said, you just gave away 10 books. Does that mean they will be less profitable after everyone buys these books? It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I mentioned to you guys there's a guy called Victor Gallego. So I actually didn't learn about seasonal book flips until I met Victor. He's a good friend of mine. He runs his own Facebook community group about how to flip seasonal books on Amazon. And me and him have kind of teamed up over the last 8 months, and we've made actual like podcast interviews where we went over books that are Christmas books. And I can tell you that he's been basically giving away like these books before in his Facebook community, and those are books that have still continued to perform really well. So all I can say is that from the experience that I have, having given away these Christmas books, that these are books that have still continued to do well. Victor's been running his Facebook community group since I want to say 2019, and pretty much every year he gives away the same books. He's like, hey, here's great Christmas books to flip, and pretty much every year they do well every single year. So I can't guarantee that every book is going to have the best year yet, but what I can say is that come Christmas time, people are going to want those books. And so if you're buying the book at $5, $6, $7, even if there's a little bit more competition and people are selling them, like, you're still going to be able to make money on them. And not only that, I guarantee you, if I give away those 10 Christmas books, there's probably a large percentage of people who are not even going to buy any of them. Like, because think about it, right? In order for you to flip those 10 Christmas books, you're going to have to wait another year, because Christmas is going to happen now, but those books are already inflated in price. So you're going to have to wait a while. Who's going to remember in that time? So I would just say that I haven't seen that there's going to be, there's going to be saturation, but yeah, that's what I'd say.
Gotcha.
So Bill in the chat says he sold 4 Christmas books today. There you go, Bill. So Bill's part of that group, and yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, here's another great question. Is it okay for beginners to do A to A? So maybe folks who've only been selling for a couple of months, they've been going thrifting, they're making a few bucks, but they're still somewhat newer. Can beginners do this, or is this only for advanced sellers, and for folks who have thousands of dollars to invest?
Yeah, I won't lie. And what I will say is that there's a learning curve to everything. If you've only been selling stuff on Amazon for 3 months, there's still a lot of stuff that you're new to. So it's just going to be a little bit more difficult for you to jump into online book arbitrage, just because you have less experience in general selling. But I guarantee you that if you go through the modules, especially if you really got to focus on the Keepa basics, the Keepa mastery part, if you can understand what something is worth, then you're going to be much better, because then you can understand what you can pay for items. So yeah, even if you're new to this, like even if you never even thrifted, as long as you got an Amazon seller account set up and you're willing to put in the work and willing to learn, I think you're going to be wildly successful.
Yeah, Christina, it's one payment of, well, it's $397, but if you put in the code save 100, it goes to $297, or it's or 3 payments of $127 if you use the code. All right, perfect. So let's keep moving with these questions. All right, here's another great question. I'm curious if you know the answer to this. So,
Okay.
I have I have an eBay to Amazon masterclass that I teach, and I always hate when people like I hate that I can't help people like in Canada as much and folks in
All
different
right.
countries because like I teach a lot of like the big like how you teach Keepa to find the deals. Like
Right.
I'm teaching how to use Flip Mine and it doesn't work in Canada and stuff, and I feel terrible.
Right.
What about this course? If folks are in Canada or in different countries, obviously there's different marketplaces and whatnot, but is Keepa just for US? Do you know? Because I actually have no idea.
Okay, so what's actually fascinating is that there's actually possibilities to source books on other marketplaces. So I bought books on Amazon Canada, got them shipped to the US. I bought books on Amazon UK, Amazon Germany, got them shipped to the US because remember that Amazon has different marketplaces. There's the US, there's Canada, there's all these different places. So it's possible that you could even find a book on another marketplace. And there's some strategies for how to do that in the masterclass. And you could potentially get a book shipped from you from the UK over here and you can flip it. As far as yeah, Keepa works in all of those countries. What I will say is that by far, the Amazon US marketplace is the best place to sell books. For whatever reason, UK is not very good. Canada is not very good in relation to the US marketplace. So what I will say is that if you're somebody who's living outside the United States, you can still sell on Amazon, the US marketplace, but you need to use a prep center. And the good news is that, I'm going to show you how to set up a prep center anyways. Now, hold on though. One thing I do want to say is that I have found that, especially if you're a newer seller, and you're living outside of the United States, Amazon's actually playing they're playing a game where if you're a newer seller in the US and you're living outside the US, they're kind of gating you on most books. So I honestly haven't found a solution to get most of those people engaged. I think what has to happen is they have to start selling other products that Amazon does allow them to sell before they open that category. So if you already have a US seller account and you live outside the US and you can sell books, then you can absolutely do this model. But if you're somebody who's in outside the US and you haven't set up a US Amazon account, then I would say maybe we can talk behind the scenes and I can try to figure out how we can make it work for you. But right now, yeah, that's my answer to that.
Gotcha. And do you mind adjusting your screen again? That bar
I'm so sorry.
likes to jump up. So let me ask a question. Realistically, for somebody who's been doing this for maybe a couple months, they understand Amazon and whatnot. For anyone who's brand new, if you don't know how to set up an account, if you don't know how to do the basics, I have a whole entire course about all of that inside of Reselling Freedom. I'm happy to put that into the course,
Cool.
into your course for
It.
free,
Awesome.
just to help people with the basics and the beginner stuff. But realistically, what are the typical margins and ROI? People go to the thrift store and you pay $1 or $2 and you sell an item for 30, 40, 50 bucks. Obviously, those are a lot harder to come across now, just with a lot more competition. Like, how much money do you typically make on flips? Like, do you have a minimum profit? Do you have a minimum ROI? Do you have a minimum, like, how long does it take for these books to flip? I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but
yeah, no, it's really great. So one thing that I do want to be clear about is that my model specifically, the way that I like to do is I like to focus on books that sell frequently, but not like selling every single day, because it's actually kind of difficult to find books that drop in price by a large percentage if they're books that are selling every day. Because if they're selling every day, people would be buying those copies. What enables us to buy a lot of these books well below the market value is the fact that they just don't sell very often. So if, let's say, you're taking a book that only sells once a week, and then over a 2-day period, it decreases in price by 70%, and nobody came to that listing to buy it, like that's an opportunity for you to buy it. And going back over, let me just show you. So here's my 2023 Joji spreadsheet. And so this is kind of the tracking spreadsheet that you would see. So these are sort of the key indicators. So right now on the year, my average buy cost is $17.27, and my average sell price is $69. So what that means is for every book that I buy, the average price is $17.27. The average sales price is $69. Amazon on average gives me a paycheck for $51, and the average profit per book is about $34. So, I won't lie and say that, it's not like all these books sell within a week or within a month. Like, a lot of these books are longer tail books. Like, my average book will take about 3.5 to 4 months to sell. Some books might take even longer. I might have a book that takes a year to sell, bought it for 17, sold it for 70. But then, I do have books that I bought literally a week ago and they sold, or I should say 2 weeks ago, and they sold today. So it's kind of a mix, but on average, it takes about 3.5 months to sell. The average profit per book you just saw So yeah, I mean, what's so amazing is that the margins on it are really, really high.
Big shout out to Gene, Shannon, Harut. We got I believe it's Jen. It's kind of hard with the emails. The names are kind of blended in, but big shout out. We've had a whole, probably, who knows, 40, 50 folks join so far. So I want to say
Awesome.
welcome everybody. Joji, they must have really enjoyed your presentation, man. People are jumping on in, which is exciting. Okay, let's keep going through some of the questions right now. I have a whole list of them, and feel free to interrupt, Joji, if you see any questions.
Awesome.
Okay, so we just answered that one. Do you use a reprice or you use Be Cool, right?
Correct. I use Be Cool. Yep.
Gotcha. Carrie Murphy asks, I get Keepa alerts, go to the alert, and by the time I open, it is gone. How do you get better in terms of getting alerts and not missing out on the deals?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, there are other people that are doing this. And so there are other people who are tracking books, right? So you might not be the only person tracking a book. And what that means is that there could be competition. So there could be people out there that, either have virtual assistants that are looking, and every time there's an alert, they might look at it and they might buy it right away. There might even be software, I don't know. But all I can say is that you should probably set up email alerts and also set up web push notifications, and as well as text messages, so that when you get alerted right away, you can go look at the book and potentially buy it. But, I will say that Keep Alert is competitive, right? And so I'm not going to lie and say that, it's not like, there won't be times where you find a great book and you can't buy it. I mean, the reality is that at times there will be books that are great deals, but other people beat you to it, right? So in this case, what I'll say is one thing that you can do is try to track books that nobody else is tracking. And so in the Amazon to Amazon Masterclass, I actually show you guys a way to find really niche books using Keep a Product Finder that you can then set up alerts for those books, and specifically you can set up alerts for some of the books that maybe only have one person tracking them, maybe nobody tracking them. And I do have a handful of books like I'm the only one tracking, so whenever that price drops, I'm the one that gets notified and I can go buy it. But all I can say is that you got to be fast with it, right? There are other people doing it as well, so you got to be fast.
You know what I think?
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are the competitive advantage I think you have, Joji's? You go after books that don't look that attractive because they're slower. Like I have Joji's entire replens list. It's a secret. Don't worry. It's in the vault because I have a software I've been developing. So I've been trying to help him. But man, the books you go after, like I would never think to buy them because they just seem really slow selling, which while, folks might laugh, but that's actually, I feel like if you go after those types of books, which you teach in the course, you're not going to have as many competitors because the average person's like, oh, I want to find books that are 100,000 rank.
Yeah. And one thing that I will say as well is remember that if a book sells, it's money in your pocket. It doesn't matter if its rank was 10,000 or 100,000 or 2 million or 5 million. If the book sells, it's money in your pocket, right? So at the end of the day, it's really are you making good buys? Like even if you're buying a book that's 3 million, 4 or 5 million rank, do you have a high perceived likelihood of being able to sell that book? And really what it comes down to is being able to read the Keepa graph, looking at past historical sales and saying, hey, over the last 5, 7, 10 years, people have been willing to pay this price, generally this many times a year. And if I can buy that book for well below what it's been selling for, there's really no way that you can lose. I mean, you're basically buying a book for significantly below its true worth and then just reselling it back for what it's worth. So yeah, I would just say that even though a lot of the books I sell are longer tail books, really what I'm interested in is profit. And that's what matters to me. And Art says helps when you get the buy box too. Absolutely. Definitely helps when you get the buy box.
So I want to ask a question, and big shout out to Stephen Tower. I see Stephen Tower in the house. What's going on, man? Stephen Tower, I know he does some thrifting. He does eBay to Amazon flipping. Just want to give a big shout out to Stephen. As I saw Stephen here, I thought to myself, Stephen does eBay to Amazon. I do eBay to Amazon. Can folks do eBay to Amazon alongside with Amazon to Amazon and thrifting? Like, is it something that, do you have your team doing both just to have kind of double vision and double opportunity?
I really just focused on the A2A model. So I do a little bit of like FlipMine, a little bit of eBay to Amazon. And the reason why I like to do A2A is just because I think Keepa is a very powerful sourcing tool. And maybe it's a hot take, but I think Keepa is much better at finding undervalued products than FlipMine is, only because when you look at Amazon's marketplace to eBay's marketplace, Amazon's marketplace is massive. Now, with that said, I'm not saying you can't make money on eBay. Steve raking profits, bada bing, bada boom. He's a testament that you can make a really good living doing E2A flips. It just, for me, I just like the A2A model better. I've been doing it longer, and I think I just have more competitive advantages, which is kind of what I'm sharing here. So I prefer to do that.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested. After this, I'm going to be sending the replay to my 2 virtual assistants. And I mean, we don't have any problem buying from eBay to Amazon. I mean, we spend 40 grand a month easy. I mean, this month alone, it's a record. I'm at 110,000 in sales, and I don't say that to brag, but it's just like, it's crazy the amount of opportunities. But I do see Flipmine and eBay to Amazon, like at least Flipmine strategy, getting a lot more competitive. And I'm not helping myself by sharing a lot of it on my YouTube and course, but I'm interested to have my team start doing this as well. So what are your thoughts on, and for the folks thinking this as well, I know you hinted at it before, what are your thoughts on using your alert strategy, tracker strategy, all of that for like electronics and board games and video games? Like, is it an equal opportunity, or are you exploiting some interesting, nuance or something with books only?
Really great question. There are definitely many profitable niches. I focused on books because, basically the book Profit First, that was written by Mike Michalowicz, he had written another book called The Pumpkin Plan. And the whole point of the pumpkin plan is that if you look at the pumpkin farmers that win like the giant pumpkin contest, they don't focus on anything other than just the biggest pumpkin. Like they do the research and look for the pumpkin seeds from the large pumpkin contest winners in the past. They study the exact soil that the pumpkin grew in. They look at the exact amount of water that it get, like all the other pumpkins that are growing, like they're cutting them off and throwing them away. So they only focus on one thing. So the reason why I've done it is just I felt like that is my main competitive advantage is selling books. So I really wanted to hone in and focus on that. Now, will that change here in the future? Maybe. But as far as going to, can you source in other categories? I know for a fact you can do CDs, you can do DVDs, you can do video games because I've done it. Like I've experimented with it. I've been able to flip them. There's literally just so many things to do, though. I think sometimes you get scatterbrained. So I think really honing in and focusing on one thing would be helpful. So one thing that I'll say is like, if you really like the board game niche or you really like the toy niche, like go for it. You can utilize a lot of the same strategies to find those products. But just know that what I'm best at is books. That's why I'm focusing on it.
And can you do new and used products? I know obviously you don't want to do new books, but you can do all different conditions.
Absolutely. You can do collectible. One of the coolest videos in the Keyword Product Finder section is how to find mispriced collectible condition books. So sometimes people list books in collectible condition, and you might be able to find these books listed in collectible condition well below what they're actually worth. But yeah, you can buy books in new condition from a third party or not books. You can buy products, from new third party sellers, Amazon, outside of the book category. And again, I don't have expertise in that because I don't do that. But all I know is that the strategies that I'm sharing here, like there's a lot of opportunities and windows that could be opened using those strategies. And again, I'm in one lane, but feel free to join my lane or feel free to branch off. I think you guys can be successful either way. Just got to put in the work, right?
And this was a good question we had got a couple minutes ago. Do you think that there's a strong or a valid longevity to this? With Keepa, like, is this something that's new that just came out, or is this something that's on the way out? Is this something that is going to, just become, how do you say, like oversaturated in a sense? Right. Like maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Keepa has been out for years. As far as when I started using these sourcing strategies, I can't even remember. It's been a while. What I will say is that right now in this webinar, I think there's about 300 people. And on my YouTube channel, I have well over 2,000 subscribers, and I've been teaching people how to do this for over a year and a half. And my business has only grown. Like I've dedicated more time to doing it because I wanted to help more people. So I've made more YouTube videos. I showed people, here are some ways that maybe you could think about sourcing. And all I found is that I've been able to do even better. So I'm not going to lie and say that there isn't more competition. Yeah, there's more competition. But what I'll say is that if you truly do focus on it and you put into practice what's there, like you're going to find winning books. Like just with that one Keepa product finder search we did today with the webinar, I mean, we found, a couple of books that potentially could be decent. There was 297 books that met that criteria. And just changing just a few of those filters can result in you finding, a whole list of other really potentially good books. What I will say, one thing that has helped me over time, though, is once you start selling books and you start getting data and history of these books that you sold, you can start thinking about, replanting those. You have a competitive advantage over other people because you've sold that book before. You kind of know what it sells for, what you can buy it for, and so on.
True.
But I genuinely believe that in 10 years, if I still want to sell books on Amazon, that I can still be here utilizing Keepa, because Keepa is this massive software company that has such a stranglehold on Amazon and on the Amazon reselling community. I just don't see how they would ever, I'm not going to say never, but I'm just going to say I plan to be doing this for many years. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm curious. So there are a lot of different filters. I would definitely consider myself more of a beginner. And if folks are thinking like, am I teaching this course? Like, of course I'm not. I do eBay to Amazon. Joji and I, we teamed up and we're supporting him. Our video editors, our website folks, our customer service. So Rake and Profit's really supporting the foundation and the marketing, and Joji is the instructor. I hope to be able to contribute more with content when I, become more of an expert. But I'm curious, do your virtual assistants, for the folks out there who are thinking, maybe I'm busy, maybe you got kids, college student, maybe you're working a job, can folks utilize a virtual assistant to actually get the alerts and whatnot? Like, do your virtual assistants get those, or are you the only one who gets the alerts and then you have to give it to them?
Good question. No, they also have access to my Keepa account. So basically, when I'm out teaching my 9 to 5 job, they're working and they have access to the Keepa account. So if there's a Keepa alert that comes in, they can take a brief look at them. And some of the books that they buy are from that. They're from alerts that you get during the day. You end up snagging a copy. Again, a lot of the books that I'm tracking, there's maybe only one person, maybe no one tracking besides me. There's a couple people tracking it. So yeah, I have my virtual assistant help me leverage my time a little bit there. What I will say though is that, with Keepa alerts, like we mentioned, it can be pretty competitive, right? But I would say you can really lean on Keepa deals. You can really lean on Keepa product finder. What's the beautiful thing about this is that there's a lot of different ways to source. So if one thing is not really working for you, then I would say mix it up and try something else. And there's a lot of opportunity to try different things in the masterclass. And these are all a variety of things that I use that have helped me, that work for me. But yeah, you could totally leverage a virtual assistant to help you work and do this. I would say it's a little bit more advanced because before you probably hand off the reins to a virtual assistant, you kind of probably want to know a little bit more about what you're doing, because at the end of the day, your virtual assistant's going to come back to you and ask you, hey, is this a good book we should buy? Is this a book we shouldn't buy? And if you don't have like the foundational Keepa knowledge, or you're not really sure if that was a good buy, it's going to be a little bit tricky. So I would just say go through the masterclass on your own at first, but long term, yeah, absolutely, you can expand to more virtual assistants, and that's one of my goals in 2024 is to try to bring on more team members, because while I do like buying books, I also really like coaching people, and I think I can leverage my skills to help teach virtual assistants to do this.
Awesome. Yeah, we should definitely do a call in the 808 masterclass, maybe on month 2 or 3, once folks get the system flowing, and we could talk about virtual assistants, how to hire systems. I mean, because my 2 virtual assistants spend about $40,000 a month, and I know what are your virtual assistants spending per month on average right now?
Right now they're spending about like $2,500. So, or she's spending. I only have one virtual assistant right now. She's spending about $2,500. So, it's not a lot. I still do most of the spending, but I really have her doing specific things.
Your cost of goods is so much less than mine with books. Your margins are so much better.
They're insane, right? But it takes longer to sell, right? And that's always an argument. People are like, well, Joji, why don't you just sell 10 of the same book for way less profit per book versus selling, the book once for way more profit? I just like to sell fewer books and make more money. And if I have to wait a little bit longer, I'm fine with that. That's just kind of my way.
It's a trade-off. Here's a great question from Rob. This is a bit of a tougher question, but I think it's a good question for everyone to hear. What would you say is the time that it takes to get past the feeling of quitting and giving up? When you're learning something new, it's not always, rosy and peachy. Like everyone watches a show on YouTube, you're going to make $1 million in 10 seconds. Like, how do you get over that feeling of struggling in the beginning? Which everyone
I would say
will.
you really got to lean on the group, the Facebook group, and you got to lean on the mentorship, the group coaching calls, because everyone's going to be at a different spot in their journey. Some people are going to come from my YouTube channel. They've already got quite a bit of foundational knowledge. Some people are going to be kind of new and they're not going to know a lot of things. So you really need to leverage the Facebook community, in my opinion, and you need to leverage the coaching calls, because then you can actually talk to other people who are going through the same challenges as you. And you can realize that you're not stupid, you're not alone, and you can share your successes with other people, right? The reality is that if you're doing this business in your actual life, like in your everyday life, everyone is gonna think you're crazy. Like you're flipping books from Amazon to Amazon, like that just seems so weird. So having a community and being able to ask questions and be able to get feedback and interact with people, I think is going to help boost you up. So I would say really lean on that and just know that, it took me a long time to learn everything that I put in this course. I mean, I've lost thousands of dollars. I mean, I'm very profitable now because of the mistakes that I've made. But, I also just kept going with it and just realized that if sometimes you need to take a break, like it's always going to be there for you. It's not like if you don't buy books today, there aren't going to be books tomorrow. It's not like if you don't take the course now, like the course won't be here later. Like I would say, just do the best that you can do. Lean on the support of the community, and I think you can succeed as long as you're willing to make mistakes and learn and give it a shot.
Here's a really great question. Big shout out to Optimus FBA, super engaged the whole call. What percentage of your inventory that you buy from A to A? Well, I guess we'll talk about books. Do you get returned from buyers? He said return from the seller. I'm not sure what that means. We could answer both. We'll start with what's your return percentage typically?
Okay, so we'll start with this. We'll start with the seller. So obviously A to A, you have to buy it from a seller, but then you also have to sell it to a customer. So there's two parts. There's buying it on Amazon. You're buying it from a seller, and does the seller ship you the item? I haven't done an amazing job of tracking what the cancellation rate is, but I would say it's somewhat significant. I'd say maybe like 8% of the time you buy a book and you get a canceled order. So you have to go back in your email and make sure you delete that off the tracking spreadsheet. I haven't actually sat down to figure out what that exact number is, but it is possible that you and somebody else bought the book at the same exact time, and this person bought it, 30 seconds before you did. So, the order gets canceled, or the seller, doesn't have the book, or they realize they made mistakes, so they cancel the order. So that's that part. On the other side of actually selling the book, I would say that, right, I think my return rate is right around 6%. Of sales. But what you have to understand is that the overwhelming majority of those books that do get returned to you are still sellable. So a lot of times they just get put back into inventory and then they just get resold. Some of the times the Amazon employee deems it to not be, sellable. They say it's unsellable. So they ship it back to your house, and then you're gonna have to inspect it and then, figure out where you want to go from there. So I would say probably the return rate where the book is actually just not usable at all and you end up throwing away is probably less than 1%. So pretty low, if I'm being honest.
Man, we've got a lot of people joining the masterclass. Big shout out to Crystal Carr, Francis. Francis, it looks like you paid $100 extra. You didn't use the code, so we'll reach out to you to refund that extra 100.
Yes, refund that. Get that $100 back. You can use it to buy some books.
Same with Blaine. Big shout out to Blaine. He was we actually hung out with Blaine at the Oklahoma event. He bought your course. He was the first one to buy before we even talked about the coupon code. So he paid an extra $100. We'll refund you for that too. B Chan just joined as well. All right, let me ask another question right here. So how deep do you go into like working with prep centers in the course?
So I will, okay. So here's a really cool thing is I've actually somewhat regularly meet with the owner of the prep center that I use. Her name's Shanna Mann. I've talked to her in private multiple times. She's a really cool person. So I bet you, so no promises, but I bet you that we could probably even bring her on a live coaching call and she can answer your questions so that you feel good about it. Cause I would consider her a friend of mine. And, obviously our interests align. She's an awesome person. She's honestly maybe even too organized for me because basically you need a tracking spreadsheet where you tell them everything that you send them. And she's like so highly organized that sometimes she's like, Joji, update your spreadsheet. So what I will say is that there's a module dedicated to it. So there is like one long video where I talk about the things that you need to set it up, the way to set it up. I'm not going to, necessarily say that you have to use that prep center. There are also a couple of other prep centers. Little Owl is also a good prep center that a lot of people use for OA for online book arbitrage. So, I will talk about
using them. I just started using them as well.
You use Frank. Nice.
Very cool. I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of different ones out there. I just went with somebody I knew. I know you use one, in Virginia? There's other ones Central out there. Virginia Prep. Yep. I'll tell you right now, my biggest regret, not to steal the show from you, was not getting a prep center sooner. I learned a lot and I built a whole software around doing it at my house, which was great, but I can't wait for 2024 to use a prep center. So I'm happy to contribute in that module as well, because I've learned so much. And I'll tell you right now, for anyone out there who you're prepping all your stuff and you're doing OA and you're thinking to yourself, they're going to lose it. They're going to destroy it. They're not as smart as me, blah, blah, blah. I said all these things to me. It has been the stupidest thing I've ever done. I can't believe I didn't use a prep center sooner. So I've only sent them a couple hundred units, so I can't give a full testimonial, but there's a lot of great ones out there. So I'm happy to contribute in there as well for my learnings.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody in the chat asked, I hope this isn't bad to ask. Sorry if it is, but how does this work with GoToLister? Okay. So, I would say that this model really aligns with prep centers, because if you can use a prep center, again, it's going to be way easier than you think it's going to be. It's going to be way easier than you think. But if you can use a prep center, you don't have to haul the books up to you. I live in a two-story, second story. So you don't have to haul the books up. You don't have to unbox everything, pack everything up, list it, and ship it off. But GoToLister, there isn't a dedicated GoToLister video in that masterclass, but I'll promise you this: I'll make a personalized GoToLister video that I'll put in the Amazon masterclass if you don't want to use a prep center, and I'll start working on that this week. So it's not something that's there yet. I do have some on my YouTube channel, but I'll make a more exclusive one that's maybe a little bit better quality so that we can put it there for you. How about that?
Perfect. All right. We got a couple more questions. And I know that we're getting to that time right now. So let's just go speed mode through them. And again, for the folks who want to take advantage of the fast action bonuses, if you want to get the best deal, if you want to get started tonight, I already see people joining the Facebook group.
Yay, let's go. I'm so excited.
We got a couple more minutes because, I do want to let Joji get back to his family and his boy as well. We've stole him for long enough, and you'll be seeing him in the coaching and in the course and whatnot. So be sure to put in your order, guys. If you're ready, go to rakeandprofit.com/A2A. Use the code SAVE100. So let's go through a speed mode and let's wrap things up right now.
Quick. Yep.
Okay. So Kristen asks, should we be focusing on the BSR, the bestseller rank, more than the monthly sales when analyzing a deal to be able to understand the sell-through rate?
Yeah, good question. I think you should be looking at the number of drops. So I think you should be able there is a feature that shows you how many drops have happened in the last 30 days, 90 days. I would say just getting a good understanding of maybe, how many drops there are in 6 months or a year to kind of gauge, okay, if there's been 3 drops in the last 6 months, that's probably going to be 3 sales. So probably once every couple months. I think that's a good way to gauge it. Sales rank can be very nuanced and it can be very misleading as a number. So I think the drops is probably a better indicator.
All right, perfect. Here was a question asking someone who only has a couple $100 every 2 weeks to invest into books. Is this something they can do and then slowly build it up over time?
Yeah, it's going to be slow. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be slow, but if you have only a couple $100, what you need to make sure is that, okay, so this is what I'll tell you guys. You're going to come across a whole bunch of books that you're going to I just want to buy this book. This book looks good. But if you don't have very much capital, you're going to have to buy the absolute best books. So you're going to have to spend a lot more time vetting all the books and making sure that when you come across a book, you have to be absolutely 100% certain. You're this is an amazing deal. This is a great book, because otherwise, if not, then it's going to be harder. Because if you end up, let's say you only have $200 and you end up buying bad books in the beginning and the books don't sell, then it's you don't really have any more capital to go buy more books. So I would just say you can do it, but just know you're going to need to spend a little bit more time making sure that you're really vetting the purchase so that it actually works and actually flips.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Joji. Someone was asking if seller amp is necessary. I think you alluded to, you would argue that it could be, it could not be necessary. But for me, I think it's huge in my business just to analyze deals a lot quicker and understand what my ROI is, what my profit is, to see my recent orders. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. SellerAmp has a Google Sheet integration with it, which makes tracking your books really simple. So in the masterclass, I'm going to show you how you can track your books using the SellerAmp Google Sheet integration. So I would highly recommend that you get it if you're interested in tracking your books, which you should. I'm just going to say that it's not 100% necessary, because you could form your own tracking spreadsheet. You could honestly probably get a free FBA calculator with a Chrome extension, but I think everything visually, the way it's laid out, I just think for ease of use, it's better. So I'm not going to push it and say you absolutely need it. I'll just say that I like to use it because it's a quality of life update. And so I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not pushing softwares. I think that it's one that's very beneficial, and you don't necessarily need it, but I think it adds value enough for me to want to buy it and use it.
Exactly. And speaking of software, Keepa, is it necessary to upgrade from the free Keepa plan to the $20 a month? Is that a necessity?
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it
Oh,
necessary to get the paid Keepa plan?
okay. Okay, so here's the thing. You have to pay for the Keepa subscription because the only way that you can see sales rank on the Keepa graph is if you have the subscription. So Keepa is kind of funny. They give you all the data except for the most important data. So they give you all this data for free that's less important, and the most important data they put behind a paywall. So in order for you to see sales rank drops and to use those features, you have to pay the like $20 a month. I think is what it is as a subscription. So out of all the things out there that you need, that is number one thing that you need. Like if you're going to go bare bones minimum, there's only one software you're going to use. It's just going to be Keepa, which is like 20 something a month. But once you start getting a little better, you can start adding other things as well. But yeah, it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary.
Zachary says you are who your friends are. If your friends are successful A2A sellers, you'll become a successful A2A seller. Yeah, I would agree. You know, as long as you put in your time, you know, I've been doing, obviously I don't do A to A, but I'm going to be learning about it. But with E2A, you know, it took me quite a while to get the hang of it. But my results really started to grow when I started hanging out with people like Seth, Checkmate Flips, Josiah, my buddy Ben. You know, when you interact with people, you get to learn the little nuances. And I'm sorry, my cat just jumped off the thing onto the chair. But yeah, you definitely become who you spend time with. Cindy, thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks so much, Clint. Rosemary says, I'm having problems. Not sure if my payment went through. Just message support@rakeandprofit.com, and we will definitely help you out. Here's a question from Panda. And I love Panda, by the way. She's joined a lot of my programs. She's asking how much is the course is like recycled YouTube content or maybe stuff that you teach in the eBay to Amazon mentorship, which
Good question.
people probably don't know what that is, but is it a lot of recycled stuff, original stuff? Is the value in it being a sequence? Yeah.
Yeah. I would say probably the biggest value is going to be the sequence. Everything is set up in a way so that you can go through all the modules and kind of learn all the necessary information that you need to know. You know, I'm not gonna lie. A bit of the information that I've shared on YouTube is in the course, and the only reason why, you know, I think there were a lot of people here is because they knew that the information that was given on YouTube was valuable, right? And so that information that was given on YouTube is still valuable. So I've put it in a way in a scope of sequence where it makes more sense, where you can go through it and it's much easier to view. But what I will say is there are some strategies for finding books, for sourcing books specifically, that I don't share on YouTube because, you know, I can't necessarily give everything away for free, especially like some of the more competitive advantages. So there are definitely going to be sourcing strategies that you wouldn't find on YouTube, on my YouTube channel for sure. So yeah, definitely at 297. I absolutely, I don't know. For 297, I don't feel bad at all. I mean, even for more than that, like I feel like you guys are going to get a lot of great value, and even Panda, I think that you'll find a lot of value out of it as well.
Well, Joji, you better not be retiring, Joji, because you just had 4 more people, you know, join your masterclass. So let's not turn you into some, you know, six-figure guru and quit selling books, man. So, you know, congrats to everybody joining.
Can I read a comment real quick? I did someone really said so. Super Dad's iPhone said, Joji, I'm listening to you on my evening part-time job at a high school doing custodial work. I've been literally sweeping floors while listening to your presentation. I just bought the course. Looking to replace this job with selling books in FBA by the spring. Started a few months ago and looking to use your business to fast track my business, man. I really appreciate you buying. I really hope that, well, I know that it's going to work out for you. Like if you're committed to it and you've got a little bit of startup capital, like, and if you're joining the coaching calls and you're going through the content, like, dude, we're going to make it work. So just wanted to shout that out because that was a really heartwarming comment.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's really going to be exciting, you know, 3, 6, 9 months down the road. I remember when I, you know, started my E2A journey, you know, I put out the course. It's amazing to see where some people are now. Like big shout out to Amanda. You know, Amanda, she just reached out to me yesterday. I know it's E2A, but it's similar. She was doing like $27 a month when I talked to her, and now she just hit over $12,000. So big shout out to Amanda. And
Crazy.
you know, you guys might be in a place where you're like, man, I'm sick of going to thrift stores. I'm sick and tired of, you know, my specific model. Maybe you're working a job. Who here goes to thrift stores at 5 or 6 o'clock and you're like, freak, everybody got all the good deals. Like, just know you could reinvent yourself, but it takes the first step. It's going to be slow in the beginning. You're not going to get rich overnight. I mean, I don't know if anyone's going to get rich with E2A or A2A, but you can make a good income stream but you've got to look out 6 months down the road, not to get all
it's a long-term thing. And remember, guys, like, it's taken me years to get to this point, but it actually is replacing my income now. So I'm taking all my teaching income, investing that in the stock market and my retirement accounts to help to help us reach financial independence earlier. But let's see, one thing that's actually funny about what you just said, Steve, about who wants to go out at 5, 6 p.m. to a thrift store that doesn't have the books. The actual reality is that Goodwill and thrift books, they sell tons of books on Amazon. And often a lot of the books you're buying are from Goodwill. So what's ironic is sometimes you're actually still buying the book from Goodwill, but you're just buying it online rather than buying it in the thrift store, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fun. Like, I can't wait until you guys start having items show up to your house. Again, I do E to A, but it was so exciting. I started having products show up at my house, and it is a lot of work, if you don't use a prep center, and opening items up and then listing them. But what's more work? Having to go to thrift stores for 4, 5, 6 hours. Now, again, you're paying a lot more money with this method. Let's not pretend we're not spending 5, 10, 20, 30 bucks a book. Sometimes we're not getting these books for $1, but it's pretty exciting, having all these items show up to your house, having a glass of wine or a glass of lemonade and doing some sourcing. It's a lot of fun. So I'm excited. For folks who are asking, are you supposed to get an email? You should. If you don't get an email, check your spam. If I would say after 10 or 15 minutes, if you don't see an email, please message our team at support@rakeandprofit.com. We have Des and Tony in the comments. Let's make sure we email everybody tonight, just to make sure they get in. Join the Facebook group. We'll be in there as well. And Seacar is asking, how costly are prep centers? My prep center is $1.50 per item. So
yeah, $1.50 for Lil Al, $2.25 for Central Virginia Prep. They do all the listing and the shipping for us. And that's calculated, like if you use the FBA calculator with SellerAmp, it'll take all that into consideration for you. I just was laughing because Rosemary says, do you sleep, Joji? Usually a lot less than I should be, but now that the masterclass is finally completed, and all the videos are done filming, like I'll be able to sleep a little bit more. So.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap, guys.
Yep.
For folks who are still interested, we'll run this maybe. Can you show that link at the bottom of your screen, Joji?
I'm so sorry. Okay, my bad.
Oh no, it's all good, man. Your computer is like, what? We've had enough people join. We're cutting them off. We'll give people for these fast action bonuses. We'll give until right now it's 9:40 Eastern. We'll give about another hour for folks. I know some folks are trying to pay with PayPal, and our support team. Some payments aren't going through for some reason. A couple that happens at times. Sometimes your bank doesn't like it. They think Joji's working for the mafia or something. They're double checking. So if you have any issues with your payments, just email our team. We'll be on for the next hour. We'll be sending out emails. If you have any trouble, if you try to get into the membership and it says restricted, we're not trying to scam you. Sometimes your email doesn't match up, or there's like an error. So we'll fix that. We'll respond immediately. We have 4 people on the team just waiting there to help you. So thanks, everybody. Joji, thank you so much. Any final words you want to share to all the amazing people who have so many great things to say about the call today?
Yeah, just from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it, the time that you guys spent with us here. I'm super excited for those of you who actually took the action or are going to be committed to doing this, because Amazon has changed my life in a number of ways, starting with graduating without debt from college, and now being able to replace my income enables me to save money, invest in the stock market. So I owe so much of my success to Amazon. And if I could just give back and give you guys all this in the masterclass, I'm really, really happy to see you guys succeed. I'm really, really want you guys to succeed as well. So I'm just feeling very blessed and honored that you guys gave us your time here. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Get a good sleep, Joji. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll send out the replay shortly for everyone. If you have any issues, we will be in contact with you, or you can message our team at support@rakeandprofit.com. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you all. Much love. Have a great night and happy holidays if I don't see you. Bye-bye.